Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Happy Sunday.
Oh, yes.
A happy Sunday. At least I think it's Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ha!
Si, senor.
Hi, Cass.
Hello, Chaos.
Welcome. I'm half prepared. Special dual stream today. We're in a watercolor mood. Yeah. Yeah. So. People outside. Oh man. Okay. How's everybody? How are you? How's the sound? Sound good? You got music and vocals and hi Paladin. Hi Emily. How are you? Paladin, real quick, if there's any way you could be Gray Paladin art instead of having an underscore, that would probably be better. Just want to put that in real quick. Because the underscore is going to mess some people up, and that putting that on business cards and stuff is just like... Anyway, okay. Let's see. Where this is. Cool, man. You're really great at taking feedback, by the way. Through the mentorship so far, you've been amazing. You're a very good mentee. Why is this so contrasty? I'm trying to match my colors right now so you guys get basically what I have. That's about right. Okay. So, let me get switched to my other playlist. Okay. Gabe, do you need the camera up for your stuff, or do you know what you're doing?
What do you mean? Yeah. No, I mean, I can look over there. I can look over there.
Don't be creepy, voice.
Today on Clover Stream, coffee.
Coffee.
And how to ingest it.
Coffee and you.
First, let it travel down your mouth gullet.
Gullet.
Use your mouth to... You gotta,
masticate.
like, your throat has to, like, expand and contract. It's fun.
I'll have to wait 2 minutes or two. Ah, bummer.
Hi, Meltzo.
How's your Friday and Saturday? Our Friday and Saturday were good. Our Friday was spent at a pen show.
Spent.
Oh, which, by the way, I guess before we start, we should talk about the pens we got.
Yeah.
Gabe, do you want to go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Gabe's gonna go first.
Me.
We had the pen show Friday, and then Saturday we went to Von House for an art jam. We'll talk about that in a minute too. First pens with Gabe.
So, this is the pen that I got. It is a Parker Standard, I think. It's Parker. The brand name is Parker. This here. It is a piston fill, which means that you pop off this back end here. So you pop off this back end, and then you twist this thing, and it pops out. I don't want to do it now because it's got ink in it, and if I push it, then the ink will come out.
True.
But maybe on one of my streams, I'll show you how I fill it. But it pops out, and then you pump it, and it sucks up the ink.
Ink.
So it's really cool. It's got this like matrixy like effect going. I really like that. And you can also, like, if you hold it up in the light, you can see how much ink you have left. Sort of. It's a little hard to see, especially if you have like a darker ink in there. But this is what is referred to as a superflex. So I can make, like, you flip it over. I can make some pretty thin lines. Then if I do this, I can get some thicker ones. But if I really want to get crazy, I can do that. Just get real thick with it. but I don't have to apply like tons of pressure. Like I have a bunch of other ones that I gotta put like a lot more pressure to get that thick of a stroke. But on this, it's a lot easier. Is this the only one I got?
No, you got... Yes. Yes.
I actually walked away with a lot more.
I ended up stealing one of his. I talked him into getting it for him, and then when we got home, I said, you know what? No, I'm going to keep this one. So, come back to this in a minute. I'll show you the pens I got at the pen show. And this is the pen show that's in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's the Chicago Pen Show. Gabe, do you want to show your mug? You have your mug?
I don't know where it is.
You bought a mug.
I bought a mug. It says Chicago Pen Show on it.
Real quick.
No big deal.
Here's my little
Pony.
collection.
Oh.
Did you say pony? Way to derail it.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Ray.
Ray.
Meltsu, hi. Fire Seal, hello. Thank you for
Oh.
the compliment. Eric's, what's up?
So Eric.
It's too pretty for Gabe. Also, hello.
Hello.
Alright, so the ones I bought at the show were these three. They're still not as expensive as this one. This one is kind of the standard for how much I guess I spent on a pen. I'm still too scared to use it. Well, how much was it? Like $3.50? It was like $3.50. So I'm scared to use that one. I gotta get better. So remember I've told you in the past about buying cheap stuff first and kind of getting good with that and then putting the money in for the good thing. I put the money in for the good thing, but I haven't earned it yet, so I have to practice with other things. So I got this guy, and I don't remember any of these brands. I've got a couple tags here. I think this is a... No, that's not the wall. This one is a wall. It's a... All of them are flex nibs like Gabe's. So I got a couple cheap ones just to practice with, like I said. And by cheap, I mean like $50 ones. This one is a Schaefer. It's called a Wasp. This is the only one I have ink in right now. I had ink in the other two, but it wasn't enough ink, apparently. So this one I like because it actually looks like it's got leaves on it. You really can't see this very well. But it's got this, like this is see-through, so you can actually see if there's ink in the pen or not. And then, like I said, on this is just a bunch of, it almost looks like gems or something. It's that kind of effect, but I like it because it almost looks like leaves. And this is actually the biggest, thickest, chonky pen I have. But I filled it with some green ink. So this is a nice one too. This one was $175, and we do save up money for the pen show, so that we've got funds for it when we go.
I feel like it's our vacation.
It is. It's a vacation / we can write it off for business because it's still related to the arts. And the only reason it's spidering right now is because this is not the best paper for this. Otherwise it'd be crisp. I don't have any good paper on it. Let's try this one.
Here. Here's the...
Oh, no, I'm good. This will work. So you can see the difference. Bad paper, good paper. Makes a big difference. But I really like this particular ink. This is I think this is a diamine, isn't it? I forget which one this is. I don't think it was the Alt Room. Yeah, I think it's Safari, I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, Miltsu, did you got your pen already, right? How's that been working for you? Eric, you feel kind of bad about tablet drawing? That's alright. You'll learn your ways eventually.
So this pen is really, really nice. I wish did it give years on it? Oh, 1930s.
Mm.
This pen was made in the 1930s. How cool is that? It looks super modern too, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So crazy. And then I got this Waterman, which I had brown in it yesterday, but I had to put water in it, water in the Waterman, because it was getting kind of low, so now it's like this really off gray color. But for the moment, it's okay. It works fine. But this is another good one. I got this just because this one was probably the cheapest out of all the ones I got. I think it was like 50 or 60. But this one is going to be probably the one I use the most for practicing, because it's a good fit for my hand, and like I said, I can kind of beat it up, so that's going to become my practice one. This little guy, who's as big as my index finger, it's very, very tiny. This one, I don't remember what this one is. This one is a...
Hey, NHL fan.
Hi, NHL fan. This one is, I think, the Wall, and it was $65. It's got a new sack. It was made in the 1920s. I filled it with some red ink, but this one might be out at this point. I was using it a lot last night. Yeah. But it's super teeny tiny. Look at that. It's so baby. It's so papers. So this one's really cute. And I really wanted a little gold one. The gold ones are actually pretty common. Let's see what else. I think that's it for me, for the ones I got. But if you guys ever get a chance to go to a pen show, you should, even if you're not totally into pens. The only problem is maybe bring $100 and buy one nice pen or something like that, you know, to get started, see if you'll like it. Because it's going to be better than buying like a brand new modern pen, I feel. And you'll kind of be proud of it because it's something vintage that's been restored well. So you can, you know, basically be guaranteed that it's in good working order and it's gonna last you. And the nice thing about them is that you can usually flip them. If you don't want them anymore, you can flip them for about the same price. At least that's what Gabe's told me in the past.
I mean, you might lose some money on it, but like if you really need it, you know, like then you can at least get like at least 75% of what you paid for.
Right. Always get good at traditional before digital. Always.
Miltu, if you look up how to fix Conrad, like on YouTube, they show you tricks on how to like get it better. Yeah. Oh my God.
Ah, Toby Bruce, thank you for your raid. All the kegs. LOL. Are those feet? What are those? Oh, Ashley's here.
Oh.
Ashley, did you bring him over? Hi, everybody. Raid all your kegs. Hi. Oh, I really like that little emoji. That's super cute. Ankles. They're ankles? Oh, that's risque. Porn. Also, hi, Uber. Sorry, you just got buried by a raid. Aw, thank you, Ashley. You're so sweet. It's always weird to say your name. Kitty in the questions, thank you for your follow. And Toby. And MAL suck. Mala suck. I don't know. Also, thank you for the host. And Crod. Welcome. J. Crod. Thank you guys for the follows. Thank you for the host. Thank you for the raid. How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday, y'all. Oh, I forgot to ask. Does anybody have a best and worst of their day yet? I usually ask on my stream, do you have a good thing that happened to you today and a bad thing you want to talk about? Or thank you for the bits. Lasuk. How do you want me to say your name? M-A-L suck. M-A-L-S-U-K. Mala. You have a name? I'll try to remember. Oh, Fire Seals eating. Sunday fun day. Aw, Toby. Thank you. Thank you, Ashley, for saying I'm a wonderful person. Depends on the day. Oh, thank you, Jimmy. So today's watercolor dual stream day. We decided we both felt like doing watercolor today, and so we're just gonna do it together. Why not? Gabe's info here. Gabe, my counterpart below. His info is right here. If anybody wants to follow him on his socials, and mine are here. I'm basically everywhere as Cloverkin, Tumblr, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. Facebook. He's Galvosaur basically everywhere. And usually Gabe is the watercolor guy. He's the painter of the two of us. But, like I said, today we're just we went to an art jam yesterday, so we're kind of in the mood to just do crazy stuff. So we're going to keep that ball rolling from yesterday. But, M. Lasuk. Is it Lasuk or Lasuk? Is it like O-OK like sook or suck? Magic mark. Oh no, Ashley. Toby, how was your stream? Was it good? Toby and Avelle and Jimmy and Eclipse and Namalin. Thank you guys for the follows. I can't believe that. Thank you. Y'all so nice. Let me catch up in chat real quick. Oh, making a cake with a brownie layer. My jealousy is through the roof right now. When Toby's stream ended. Oh, kitty. That's so sweet. I'm catching stream. Oh, I'm sorry, Cass. It'll get better. Get through it.
Cass, just drop out of school. Okay.
Hi, Connor.
Don't do that.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We can talk about it, Cass. We can talk about it.
You should just call us.
Clips, thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. I'm glad you like my Instagram. Oh, Bree, you're here.
Bree.
Welcome. We met Bree at Emerald City.
Oh.
Yeah. You guys are so nice. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Eric's, are you mainly referring to oil paint? Is that kind of where this is coming from? Oh, Toby.
Actually, Eric's like
thank you,
like
Apple.
90%, 99,000% of white paint is typically poisoned. It's got lead in it, so don't eat any white paint or anything that's really light, because
unless you want to live on the wild side.
Yeah. Also, like oil color is like, there's people that like use it with their fingers, which is really stupid.
Oh yeah, unless it's water based.
Unless it's water based, yeah. But like
water based oil paint's probably a safer bet.
Yeah, a lot of artists that have been using with their fingers for painting oil, like many years later, they
lost their fingers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Some of them might have. I don't know.
Probably
but I know
not
you.
True.
Yeah,
Cancer?
It's definitely cancerous. But you also like start to lose touch in your fingers because it's
they go numb.
Yeah, they go numb.
That's right. I do know about this. I've heard about that.
Yep.
Which is really scary. So take care of yourself.
Your mom gave you permission. Oh, me? You mean yeah?
It's true. Gabe is mom. I am dad. We're good, NHL fan. How are you? Emily, that's a good rule overall. Just don't eat paint.
Yeah.
Don't eat paint. You don't need that. You don't need that. Eat green paint. There you go. That might be better. I don't know how much.
Sure.
Yeah, inhaling fumes. Turpentine can do that to you.
I'm sure.
Yeah. It's true, Ashley. It's because mainly we came to the conclusion that I'm the hard in the stream and Gabe is the soft. He's the nice nurturing one where I'm going to be the one to yell at you and be honest with you and brutal and aggressive and abrasive and I'm going to hurt you, but then I'm going to love on you. I'm going to do all those things first. But Gabe is nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
He's soft boy. Yay, Cass, summer. Summer. I don't like heat. But I like sun and rain, and usually summer you get way more rain. Last summer, though, we didn't get much rain, which I was kind of bummed about. Like, for realsies. So last night, Saturday, I don't know why I'm so messed up on days lately. We went to Von House and had the art jam. I think, how many people do you think were there? At least 20?
Yeah. Maybe
20
30.
people,
Yeah.
20 to 30. It was the first one we've gone to where we actually had a potluck, kind of. So it was really nice. Everybody brought food except us because we didn't really understand that that's kind of what it was.
Actually, no. Chris brought like most of the food.
Chris did, but so did Sean, the lady Sean.
Oh yeah.
She brought a lot of stuff, and then someone else actually brought curry.
Oh
so
yeah, Pete.
basically,
Pete
everybody brought food, except us.
Mm-hmm.
But usually for the art jams, it's pretty chill, pretty cool. What really happened? We didn't get to try out the outdoor stuff, but it was kind of hot yesterday, so we like staying kind of cool when we're doing art. Being outside and sweating while I'm watercoloring doesn't sound too hot to me. But so just so you guys know, usually I'm using markers on my stream, typically. Do I have a pet Merle right now? I'll show you guys usually what I'm doing on my stream so you know what to expect. I have this thing I do that's kind of my main job. I used to be in mobile games, but I recently went freelance like a year or two ago, and I actually do pet portraits basically all the time. I go to tons of conventions, like both of us, we go to a ton of conventions. Coming up, we've got ACEN, we're going to be at ACEN, we're going to be at Heroes Con, we're going to be at SuperCon, we're going to be at Gen Con, we're going to be at Dragon Con. We're going to be potentially at New York. We'll keep you in touch with that, but we do at least one con a month usually. So depending on where you're at, we might be going to where you are. So always let us know what cons you'll be at, and we'll let you know if we're going or not. Let me catch up in chat again.
What, Jimmy? What are you doing? Gordrak, the Fist of Gork. That sounds like you're gonna narfle the Garthong.
Yeah, Cass, you don't seem to be too keen on the art with the computers. You're more into traditional. Jimmy, thank you for staying. I appreciate it. If you guys ever just want to lurk and don't want to like chat in the chat, that's totally cool. We're lurk friendly here.
Hey,
feel free.
if you just want to go out and like go get a drink or something, you know, just leave your computer on and leave us on. Like that's cool too. We like.
Hey Galactica. Hi Ushi.
Galactica.
Have we ever been to a con outside the U.S.? Not me. Gabe has. Do you want to talk about that?
I've been to Thought Bubble in Leeds,
Which is in Europe.
In Europe, this July during San Diego, unfortunately. Otherwise, I'd go see you, Galactica. I'm going to Brazil. I'm going to Sao Paulo.
Gabe's getting an all expenses paid trip to Brazil for their first Comic-Con?
Yeah, well, they have other shows, but this is like
The first year that won?
for this one in particular, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Welcome, Shades. How you doing?
Shade.
Oh, giant orc on a big dragon. That sounds awesome. Thank you, Jimmy.
Gordrak. Who's this Gordrak? I must meet him.
Oh, thank you, Bree. Yeah, just hang out. I'd like that people treat this as an art jam, kind of. You know, we usually say to set aside the time when we're streaming, because we stream basically 6 times a week. I'm on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Gabe is usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Saturdays are his game streams, but if you look at our schedule, or at least mine below the video, Tuesdays are at 9 p.m. CST, Thursdays are 4 p.m. CST, and Sundays are 4 p.m. CST. So, I mean, we stream a lot, so if you ever want to set aside time to draw during the day, but you don't really know how, or you don't know when, try using our time.
We'll kick your ass.
We can draw together. And we do have a lot of hacks and stuff where if you're not feeling very motivated or inspired, we give a lot of pep talks and things like that. We have even mentorships we offer. So depending on what you're trying to do with your art life, and if you ever get confused, it's always good to get feedback, especially from people that don't know you. because then they're not going to feel like they owe you niceties. You know, they'll just tell you how it is and kind of reflect back what your situation looks like to them. And especially in Gabe, in my case, I used to be in mobile games in a career for 10 years. He's a professional comic artist. So if any of you guys have any questions on comics, how to get into comics, what do you do? Gabe has worked for DC and Marvel and now works for Oni Press, so feel free to ask any questions. Jimmy, the Swap Persona stream. I dress up like him, he dresses up like me. So really what the Swap Personas was originally was we needed more time between our special streams because we had 3 special streams each we had to get through. We just did 2 last week. It was last week, right? Gabe did a Building a Gundam stream, which people had gotten to the donation goal, I think, last winter. So they're kind of owed. They're kind of late right now. And I did a sculpting stream where I actually made like this little bread. You can't really see it because of the focus, but I made a little bread here, and I made a waffle to kind of show how to make them into keychains and stuff. So I went through the whole process of actually sculpting them and then painting them and then all that kind of stuff, making them into things you could use for pendants or keychains or whatever. So those were last week. But we still owe, on my end, I owe a cooking stream, a cooking with Cloverkin, which I've done before, and a puppet stream, where I'm going to make a puppet on the stream, and I kind of want to do like a marionette, but I got to do some research first. So I still have those 2 go. Gabe's going to do a Game Boy mod stream. If any of you are really into retro gaming or have ever wanted to know how to mod a Game Boy, Gabe's going to show you how to do that. There's going to be like basically 2 levels. That's like an aesthetic level and kind of a deeper one that focuses on adding in a backlight. So one is like how to paint the case, how to change out the button colors and all that. And the other one, you have to actually know some stuff, but he'll show you regardless how to put that in. And so that stream he's going to give a little prep for, so you at least can buy the parts ahead of time and maybe do it with him. But the Swap Persona stream will likely be after we've done those. But either way, I mean, maybe we could combine them, and the Swap Personas could be with the special stream. So we'd be making a puppet, and I'd be Gabe. I'm probably going to just end up looking like Tony Stark. So I'll put my hair up, I'll figure out how to make it dark, I'll get a goatee. He usually wears really thick-rimmed glasses. I could probably figure that out. But don't worry about it, Paladin. You do you. Yeah, work on Mermaid. So, Jimmy, if you have any questions more about that, I can kind of go into it, but we just thought it'd be funny to swap personas. So Gabe will wear the ears, and we'll find a wig somewhere. Ooh, Indian food.
Oh, thanks for stopping by, Toby.
Yeah, thank you, Toby. I appreciate it. The host, everything, the raid. Thank you so much.
Eric's, yeah, they actually speak Portuguese, but then they also, because they're neighboring countries to a lot of Spanish-speaking countries and regions, they know how to understand Spanish, but they even sometimes mix it in, so it's like mixed Portuguese and Spanish. Like some people do that. So I might actually be able to speak some Spanish, and people might be able to understand it, but I can't understand Portuguese for shit.
Who does Kukui dress up as? Kukui is always himself. He's beautiful. He is Soulham.
Kitty can use some motivation. That's what we're here for. We kick people's asses.
Emily, I didn't know there's going to be puppet workshops at Gen Con. I hope I can see them. Hopefully they're at night. If they're during the day, since I have a table at Gen Con, I don't know if I'll be able to see them. How was the movie? It was good, Eric's. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to do any spoilers for Avengers. We just enjoyed ourselves. Are you providing your link?
There you go, Jimmy.
So, today we were going to actually watercolor in the stream. So Gabe's doing his line work right now. And I've kind of just been killing time by doing lines on this one from yesterday. But I am going to do a new one here in a minute. So if you guys have any questions on watercolors, Gabe's actually your guy. I'm trying to actually get better at it. Because usually like I said, I'm a marker person, and usually you end up being kind of either a marker person or a watercolor person, I think. Really, it depends on your personality and how you work. For me, until I've actually gained more patience, being a marker person works out better for me, because the difference is there's a pro and con for each. Markers, you usually have to carry a lot of them, but they're really quick to dry, which is really, really nice, so you get your results like that. So usually I say if you're impatient and you don't mind carrying a lot, markers. Watercolor, you can carry everything very small, very compact. So it's really nice on the transport side of things, but you have to have patience, because with watercolor, it's very hinged on drying. So you do a layer, let it dry. Do another layer, let it dry. Like, that can take a long time. So usually watercolor people have like 2 pieces they're working on, so when one's drying, they can work on the other one. So with that, if you have patience, but you don't want to carry around a lot of stuff, you might want to get into watercolor. Watercolor can be very tricky, though.
Yo.
Oh no, Spider Crisis, no!
Jimmy, it looks like, Jimmy, you stream with your girl too? Or is that like your friend? But he streams, he paints miniatures.
Oh, yeah!
That's awesome.
More miniature people.
That's
I
great.
love it.
These are like fantastic looking. Like I think on Monday I'm actually gonna do,
You're gonna sculpt again?
yeah, I think I'm gonna sculpt. I bought some green stuff.
Maybe you should have Gaming Monday and Sculpting Saturday. So you can have that alliteration. Watercolor Wednesday, Sculpting Saturday.
That might actually work better. Yeah.
Because then Mondays you can kind of chill.
That's true. Yeah. Give me a chill day.
Yeah, and then people can see you do art earlier.
Because she's a princess.
You know.
Yeah.
Because Wednesday and Saturday are you... I don't know, actually. I almost think you should just add a day that's a gaming day, so you can have 3 art days and 1 gaming day.
Because I could do that like on Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be way better.
Yeah.
Go learn how to work with markers more. Bree, I can help you with the marker thing. If you have any questions on that, markers are very hinged on where you start with them in the piece. You really have to know whatever material or texture you're trying to replicate in your piece, because like if you're doing metal, it's going to be very dependent on where you start the marker in the armor, let's say. I've done a few walkthroughs with that before. I really think I'm going to add, once things slow down for my commissions, on my Patreon, which is Cloverkin too, I think I'm going to start adding in like monthly tips and workthroughs. So I would be showing on my Patreon how to do like armor with markers. And I've got a bunch of shortcuts and things like for chainmail, how to do braids. And I've done these sort of things on streams in the past, but I was like, well, you know what? I can just kind of put them all together in a little video series and offer them early to Patreon people. So yeah, Kin. So if you like the look, you can basically get the same look almost with markers, so you might be more of a marker guy. Right, Bree? I thought that'd be a good idea. I got really inspired by my old roommate, Sean, yesterday, and his, he's gonna be launching a Patreon, and he had some really good ideas, and I was thinking how I could kind of do a similar thing, not steal his ideas by any means, but kind of take my own take on what he was kind of doing. Something that would fit me, because sometimes things that work for other people will not work for you, right? So you have to make it work for you, but, you know, also be as smart and lucrative as what they were doing. Anyway, hold on. Grabbing my paints. So today I think I'm going to be drawing a gourd monster. I got really inspired yesterday by just looking at gourds. I don't know. It was very weird, actually, how I came across that, because I was doing... Let me see if I can find it. Okay. So just to show you real quick in my sketchbook here. So I did a mermaid thing really, really quick the other day on a stream. I did a little mouse on a dandelion, and then last night I did this little gourd monster. He looks a little too broody for me. But I was doing pumpkins, and I remember how much I like gourds. So this is just a really rough kind of proof of concept. But I was like, well, I could draw a gourd monster. But I don't know if I want to do that or another little scene. Because I'm not used to doing landscapes. So doing that scene I just did, I kind of want to do another one. Where did my ruler go? Do you have a ruler handy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
How stressful is it when people draw or paint on your art together with you?
You mean on stream?
I meant just in general, probably. I mean,
Wait,
for me,
I would ask for clarification first.
well, because they're saying like they had Eric's had to do like a thing with someone where they were painting at the same time on one piece.
Oh, on one. Wait, what?
So it'd be like both of us, like if we both had a piece of paper and we're both drawing on it.
Oh, weird. Is that what you mean, Eric's? That you're drawing on the same piece at the same time? Bye, Miltsu.
Bye,
Thanks
Miltsu.
for joining.
A battery powered what? What are you guys looking at?
What? Gotta go back up to the cassette.
Oh, embossing tool.
But you were both working on it at the exact same time on the same piece of paper, Eric's?
Also, was this person a child?
I think she said a toddler. So yes.
Oh, with a 3. Well. Yeah, I mean, if you're
gonna be chaotic anyway.
yeah, if you're drawing with a kid, like that's gonna be like annoying, but also it's a kid, so you can't get mad at them because they're a child.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if me and Ashley were both working on a piece, I think it would be fun. Like we would be having fun.
We have had fun before with that. Yeah.
I don't think
it depends on who you're doing it with.
Yeah. If it's somebody I hate, then yeah, it's gonna be stressful. I guess it's the situation, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like, do you hate this toddler? You know, like, or is, you know, also if it's an art contest and they paired you up with a toddler, like, it doesn't seem like are you supposed to be winning, like, you know, like a lot of shit, like.
It
you know,
seems like it's for fun.
Yeah, at a confirmation, like that's, you know, what did you win, like a cupcake or something, or like a $10 gift card to McDonald's or something, like.
He's not making fun of you.
No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying, like,
do you
like
hate this toddler?
that stress level seems a bit like juvenile. Like, there's no reason to be stressed about that. Like that's when you got to take it for what it is, and it's like, all right, this is me doing a painting with a child. It's gonna look like shit. You have to accept that. You know, like this isn't something that you're gonna try to sell or submit to them.
Don't be offended by Gabe. He's just too into the game.
I'm in the game. Oh, you were thinking of paint on clothes. Yeah, well, of course you'd be stressed out. You know, you don't want to get oil on your clothes. But
toddler's oil painting?
Who's the idiot that picked oils at a confirmation? That's what I'm wondering.
Or was it not oil paints but oil pastels?
Yeah. No, because they were using brushes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oils?
So I would talk to the priest and tell him never again.
Well, if it's confirmation, it is.
Yeah, and then throw some oil on his schmuck.
Oh, really quick. I'm gonna throw my friend's Instagram in here really quick.
It's not you.
So during yesterday at the art jam, I had done kind of an art trade with a buddy. And she ended up doing this, which I asked her to draw me a mouse in clothes, and she nailed it. And I think it's adorable. She had found the frame and made a piece for it. And if you guys are wondering how to do that, I actually had a stream in my backlog, if you want to go look at that, of how to make a piece for a frame you've already picked out. I did a similar thing with that on a stream recently, where I have a really tall frame that I made this piece for. Because sometimes you just need some guidelines to get super creative. Sometimes it works that way, where more creation comes out of having more restrictions. So you get more creative that way. So that's another thing. If you're ever kind of unmotivated or uninspired, maybe pick some guidelines just to make yourself get more creative. Because sometimes when you don't have any fences, we'll say, you almost stay still out of paralysis. You don't want to go anywhere because everywhere is too much to think about. It's overwhelming, right? She also gave me this, which is a really cute iron cast mouse because I like mice, and it's very heavy. But it was just so sweet. She thought of me, and it made me almost cry. Because no one ever really gives me gifts out of the blue. So, I don't know. It felt like a total friendship thing. I don't know. Whatever. So her Instagram is this. She's actually a welder, which is super dope and badass, and she's really good at it. Like, she is a phenomenal welder. So I highly suggest going to her Instagram and checking out her welding stuff, because seriously, someday she's gonna have someone doing an article about her. I swear to God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can't you see that?
Like in
Easily?
Milwaukee
Artist,
Art Journal.
Yeah.
Like Carrie, whatever her last name is, doesn't. I don't know her last name.
Olsen.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Super
Mm-hmm.
Midwest Olsens.
Cass,
yeah.
Cass, I am. You are my daughter. Like whenever I'm at shows and I'm doing watercolors, like sometimes I'll have something to wipe my brush on, but I don't. I just wipe it off on my pant, like on the pocket area. I just wipe it off and then I keep going.
So bad.
It's good. All your clothes should be, unless obviously it's a suit. If it's a business suit, they'll do that. But it's gonna wash out, and if it doesn't, then somebody looks at it and they're like, "Hey, you've got stuff on your pocket." No, that's a battle wound, sir.
Okay.
It's a doorstop? Maybe it's a doorstop.
What?
Your mouse.
Oh, the mouse?
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
We could probably use that, but no.
Yes, we could. But I'd rather put it with my other mice figurines, because I have others. Yeah, she cosplays too, and she is a really good Midna.
She's really good.
She nailed it. That's actually how I first met her. I met her at a convention in Milwaukee, and it's so weird how we've accumulated friends, because it's always random like this. And she was at my booth, and she actually bought my children's book. If anybody's wondering where you can get my art, you can go to my Etsy here.
I think what really sells it is that she is like...
She's so
tiny.
friendly. Yeah, she's so tiny, but she's friendly and, like, yeah, that's why she's a good Midna, is because she's tiny. She totally worked for her. Okay, so I think I'm going to do a little landscape again. I don't know, I'm super digging it. But this one had a waterfall. What should I do for another one? Maybe a jungle? Yeah, maybe I'll try a jungle. Maybe make it more arced, and that one's fluffy, so maybe jungle tree be very...
Oh no, Cass. You're gonna have to get yourself one of those things that they get for little kids, so that when they wet the bed...
Ew,
like
one of the plastic...
What is it? Yeah, waterproof sheets and shit on your bed.
Ew! That's not going to help her stains, though, from her watercolor paints. That's going to just prevent water from getting on her mattress. I'm going to just put... But I know this is so not correct, but I'm going to do little bunches of bananas in this tree, and they're going to be huge. Is everybody's Sunday going well? Oh, that's right. I was going to do the gourd guy. I can do both.
You throw them in?
No. Because I wanted these landscape pieces to not have a character. So I'll do the gourd guy too. Let me see real quick. I was gonna name him Gordy.
Whoa, I just remembered my dream from last night.
Yeah.
and I had a pet puma, I think, or a pet tiger. It was like a baby tiger, but then like it was like a munchkin tiger. So you know how they have munchkin cats?
You mean, yeah, so its legs were like cut off at the...
Yeah, but he also was like a midget munchkin tiger. So he wasn't going to get any bigger than like, you know, like a medium-sized dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking in the dream, I'm like, I can keep this cat because I haven't had any allergic reactions to it. I can totally keep this. I'm totally keeping this guy. And I was trying to like weigh the
Pros and cons.
The pros and cons, and I was like, well, it is a wild animal, but it seems very friendly, so I think we're cool, you know. But then I was in some like hotel lobby, or you ever seen apartment buildings that have a really like hotel lobby look to their lobby? I think usually it's mostly in
rephrase.
All right, you know, like
You just said hotel lobby like 5 times, and I got lost.
Hotel lobby. Okay, you know how like a hotel lobby looks like. You know what the hotel lobbies look like, right?
Stop saying hotel lobby.
Or you ever been to an apartment building that's got
like a communal area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I think mostly in city. I only see them in cities.
Okay, get on with it.
Okay, so it was in that area, and I was just waiting in the beginning where the doors are, right? I was just waiting there, and I kept seeing the little tiger, and he was walking around, and he was like, he looked thirsty, so I gave him water and stuff.
Was he kind of chunky and...
Yeah, he was like really fat.
You should draw him.
But then like next door, there was I think it was an abandoned house, and there were, like, I had walked through the back end because I didn't want to go in front of the yard so nobody would see me. I don't know why I was hiding. I don't know. But there were like 3 baby, like, what are the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park? The ones that like go like that?
Dilophosaurus?
I don't know what they are. But the ones that, like, you know, they get they go like that.
The fan.
Yeah, they have the fan. Yeah. There were like 3 of those, but they were also like babies.
Yeah.
So they weren't very like mean, but they were like super friendly. And then I saw somebody like messing with them, and they like stole them. I was very upset because I was like, oh, I was hoping they would be there forever, but that wasn't gonna happen.
Okay, but I gotta be honest, I'm not following this at all. The stream is bullshit.
It was awesome. But then I got an apartment, right? And this apartment was somewhere where my sister used to live. So I'm like, oh, I know this setup. I know this area. Yeah, I know this apartment layout. I could totally live here with this cat, and no one will ever know because this is a big enough apartment where the big cat can live. But anyways, R. Kelly, after the show, the after party. Thank you, Kitty. That is my favorite song of all time. Bounce, 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 bounce.
Get to work.
J. Crod, I have not, but I would really love to someday. Like a BPRD.
His style would fit that pretty damn well.
I'm totally down for BPRD. But I don't know, maybe in a few years. Maybe in a few years I can get into it, you know? I gotta find the whoever runs the editing on that I haven't quite breached the what's it called? The Dark Horse level yet. I'm pretty sure if I were to meet the right people, I could probably get a gig at Dark Horse. But
Dark Horse?
Dark Horse, because I've got friends that have worked for them, and I've worked for DC before, so maybe. But BPRD is dope. I love the characters in BPRD. They're so cool. They're so cool, man. Dark Horse.
Sometimes his Mexican, his inner Mexican comes out.
It's the Dark Horse.
Dark Horse?
Dark Horse?
Stores? You do it with stores.
Mm-hmm.
Stores. But he's got that. My Minnesotan slips out once in a while. Last night we went back and forth probably for 20 minutes saying root beer. Couldn't figure that out. We also saw a meteor on our drive home.
Yeah, we did.
That was cool.
That was awesome.
I've never seen a meteor before, so that was really neat.
Like, I've seen shooting stars, which I guess technically is
stars.
Stars. Which I guess they're the same thing, right? Sort of.
Basically.
But I've never seen one like giant.
Like it
like
had
that.
fire.
That looked like Superman's Space Pod or Goku Space Pod, whichever one you wanna.
Whatever you're into.
Because basically, it's the same goddamn story.
He says, "I know your work, but I can't put my finger on it."
I've worked on The Life After. Let me get you a quick link to all my stuff. Comic Vine. I think.
He's gonna be holding a pumpkin, and it's gonna be really weird because it's like some squash on squash action. Don't know how to feel about that. Really don't.
There you go, Jay.
Oh my god, Jay.
Oh my god. Life After is the thing that I've done the most of. I did like 20 issues of that the past like 3 years. Years?
It's anything with, I think, ears.
Years?
Yeah.
Years of war?
I say root beer, though. I don't say root beer.
Root beer.
Root. It's so hard to... Root? Like, I have to enunciate more than I want to, and it hurts. I don't know. Root beer. Why is it on GameSpot?
What? GameSpot owns Comic Vine. And Comic Vine is sort of like a database of comic artists.
I didn't know it was owned by GameSpot, though.
Yeah, I don't know when that happened, but...
That's crazy.
Actually, I think it's always been like that.
Do you make animations, Julianus?
I
think I've made way more than you.
Oh, yeah, no, she's done a lot more than I have, but I can, I guess, yeah. I'm not big on it. I don't like to do it. I can do this.
Why do you ask?
Yeah.
I guess is more the question. Gabe, stop getting distracted. Keep working.
I just finished.
Okay, then start going on the next thing. Gabe gets this talkative, like, girl gossip thing, so if you get him going, he's not going to shut up. So I got to keep realigning him.
Kind of like reset.
Jimmy, a lot of them were for mobile games. So if you go to my website and go under games, you'll see a lot of stuff I've done. I had a stupid little tumbler that I had for my dog that I just made stupid little one. Oh, thank you, Grey Paladin. I get a lot of compliments on that one that it looks like a Brian Froud book. If you don't know who Brian Froud is, he did like Dark Crystal. He did a lot of work for Labyrinth. He's basically like Jim Henson's right-hand man back in the 80s, 90s. So, thank you, Kitty. Favorite hairstyle you've seen in a comic? Tintin. Oh.
Oh, cute.
Hairstyle in a comic. Ah, that's tough.
Damn.
I kind of like Morpheus's in Sandman, just because it's kind of chaotic and spiky and soft at the same time. Also, Eric Draven's kind of mullet. It's kind of the same thing as Morpheus's, but anyway.
I like Goku's. No, I'm kidding. I don't like Goku's. Damn, that's a good question. I like that.
Either way, though, who were we talking to? Jimmy. We both went to college for animation. I ended up being in gaming, though, because my college didn't have a gaming curriculum. Gabe's did, but we had the same school. We both went to art institutes. Don't go. But his had a gaming section. Mine didn't, so I went to get a bachelor's in animation anyway. So I've got a bachelor's in animation. I used it for 10 years in gaming, but now I'm just a freelancer, and I like it better. But... Hi, Cactus. Hi, Crane.
Hey, guys.
Oh, no. What time is it for you, Crane? Yeah. Yeah, right, Fire Seal?
Yeah.
Represent. Yeah, we know what's up.
Damn, now I gotta... I think mine might have been Lobo.
You like his hair?
Yeah.
I bet a lot of people would say Wolverine, just because.
I never liked Wolverines.
It just never looks good in real life, I feel like.
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, Hugh Jackman really pulled it off, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to digest, I guess. I think I might draw these first and then watercolor them. So I'm not drawing, then watercoloring, then drawing, then watercoloring. My papers are going everywhere.
Also, I really like Judge Dredd's hair.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Copics everywhere.
Oh, Fire Seal, you went to Art Institute? Oh, man.
We just talked about that.
I haven't read it.
Grey Paladin saying the never-ending story is also a huge compliment. Thank you. Legend, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Never-Ending Story, and Willow are like my top 5 favorite movies. 12 p.m. for you, Cactus. Nice.
Hello, Fox.
Hi, Fox. Gab is the law.
I am the law.
We like both Judge Dredd's too.
Yeah.
We like both Carl Urban's and Stallone's.
For different reasons.
Different reasons. But they're both good to us. I don't know if I feel like he'd be kind of like a jester or something. Like he'd have all these leaves around him. Maybe he looks like a scarecrow. Actually, that'd be good, wouldn't it? So as we do these watercolors, what we're really doing in the long run is making more products for us to sell at conventions, because we sell originals at our booth. So the hard thing about selling originals is once you sell one, it's gone forever. So you need to keep making more content. So everything we're basically making, if you're digging it, you can buy it from us. It's 12 p.m. midnight or noon? Noon. 12 a.m. is midnight. Okay, so it's 12 a.m. for you. Hi, DHT.
DHT.
Can you turn down the exposure on that one? Yeah. More. There you go. Crane, did you see my email? I'm not gonna let you get out of this. We're gonna do it this way and see how it goes. Ah, fuck. Cactus, I don't think I've ever seen you swear, but I love it. Ah, fuck. Do I want him to be... I'll just give him a little hay dress, I guess. Or maybe... Yeah, maybe he's got hay bale legs. Let's just go with it. Whatever.
I think maybe...
Wow.
Damn.
What were you saying?
I was gonna say, like, for anybody who knows who Blueberry is, from, like, Mobius's Blueberry, I really liked his hair because it was, like, curly.
You're not sure you understand. Okay, so you wanted to replace 2 of the assignments with studies. I'm saying that it's better to keep assignments and study during them. And there's a difference between having reference and using reference as a study. So a lot of people who get into the rut of using reference too religiously is they don't know how to use it to study it. And that's what we really need to focus on with these assignments, so you're producing while you're learning. Does that make sense? Because with studies, too many people get hinged on them and think, oh, I'm getting better if I'm just doing studies all the time. Not true. It's more important to do application. You're going to actually learn a lot more from actually doing pieces than you're going to learn from doing individual studies, like drawing an eye, drawing an arm, drawing a foot. It's better to draw an entire human over and over and over again, because then you can see how it fits together. Big picture stuff, general to specific instead of specific, because otherwise, I had a friend, all he did was studies, and he could never make a full piece, and it was debilitating for him, and a total crutch, because he would just see reference, replicate it, and any time after that he would need a reference again, he would need to go look it up. The whole point in studying something is to see it, log it in your visual library, and be able to call it back later. So in your case, what I want you to do is when we're doing the gerariums, I want you to, like, first of all, I think we should make different kinds of jars, not just jar, but like a triangle jar, maybe for desert, and a square jar for jungle, and a circular jar for something else, so we can actually practice how light affects glass. So then you can actually see, how does light bounce off a square glass jar? How does it do it with a spherical one? And that way, once you figure that out, okay, so there's always a rim light, and then there's the darkest spot is right after the rim light, and then there's a speck highlight here, and then there's a bounce light down here. Once you figure that out, there is an equation in your head. There's a formula for glass that you end up figuring out just through looking at them, right? So reference is studying basically one for one. A study is to take it apart and figure out what makes it tick, so you can later put it back together yourself. So you don't always need reference.
People want to keep making just the burger patty. How are you going to know how to make a burger if you don't make burgers?
Okay, Crane, so that's what I'm saying, but we're going to do that all at the same time. And we're going to keep the 4. Because I think it's good that you have a time restraint too, because that's going to force you to prioritize what you need to learn and not waste your time. So you're actually focusing on the things you need to get across in the piece instead of, being topsy-turvy, figuring out other things. But the study isn't, that's the thing. I don't know what you mean when you say study, because when I say it, you're doing the piece as you're studying. So there's no extra time, really. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Kitty wants to know what you're painting on the paper. Is it water?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm adding I'm doing what is called wet on wet technique.
Wet on wet on wet.
Wet on wet on wet. Which is you basically you're applying the watercolor to an already wet piece of paper so that it helps it sort of glide down or glide around or whatever. You'll see a lot of people do like the galaxies, like when they're like, I watercolored this galaxy.
It's kind of the easy mode of watercolor.
Yeah, that's like the first project that people usually start on, and what they do is they literally just wet the entire piece of paper, and then they just apply a drop of watercolor to an area, and then it's sort of just like this is done.
Be careful, I put my drink up there.
Okay. So you can kind of sort of see it doing that when I apply it here.
Crane, do you know what I'm saying about the studies, though? That they're not separate. It's all the same thing. While you're doing the piece, you're studying, because these, you have to think about, there's the perception of perfection, I'm going to call it, where you're too afraid to do the actual piece because you want to do these studies that are preparing for those pieces. I'm saying, fuck it. Just do the pieces, those are your studies. You have to learn to just do art and throw it away. Do it and throw it away. Because the more you can create without that debilitating perfection thing looming over your head, the better. So really just keep doing it. Application is better than just redrawing and drawing stuff. Like, I don't care if you drew 4 jars on a paper. I'd rather you draw, a jar in a scene, because you're learning so much more by putting it somewhere, and showing how all these other things bounce off it. Like, I'd rather you do it and we critique it, and you do it again and we critique it, and you do it again and we critique it, instead of just drawing a million of one thing. I think that's one of the worst things that art school has taught some people, because it's just gonna hurt you.
It's almost like if you want to learn how to drive a car and you're just sitting in the car and going like this, and then turn on your signal. Okay, I'm turning now. Like, you
and
won't
you're not
know
actually doing it until you drive.
You won't know how it actually feels until you're on the road.
He's totally right. That's what I'm saying. Like, doing a car simulator is not the same as driving a car. I just want you to start driving the car. We're doing behind the wheel right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to get you farther than studies ever would. It's basically working in the field as opposed to having a class. You're going to learn so much more experience for being in the field than just doing it, from a book and stuff. It's better just to go. When in doubt, just go. And I say that with everything. Just go. Fuck it. Kamikaze that bitch. And just go. Because you're going to learn one way or another. Even if all 4 of these crane are a failure, good. You learned something. That's what you want. Because, one way or the other, you're going to come out the other side. I need a napkin. Can you grab me a little napkin?
Yes.
I would have preferred one of the disposable ones, but
Do you want?
I don't know where they are. They're all gone.
Really?
I don't know where they
I
went.
think I put them all.
Unless you put them somewhere.
Yeah, I put them all.
Die in the try. It's true. Failing is good, you guys. Never forget that failing is one of the best things you can do. Do not fear failure. Embrace it. It is one of the best things you can do, really.
I think for people who don't fail, they're not succeeding.
You're not trying unless you fail. You have to fail to learn. And the best thing you can do, and I think this really usually separates the pros from the hobbyists, is when you can do something and then just look at it objectively and be like, okay, so I need to work on this, this, and this, and walk away. And not be emotionally beating yourself up like, oh, I sucked at this, and man, why can't I do this ever? If you sit there and you just self-deprecate, you're wasting so much damn time. Or you could be making something new.
Hey, Austin.
Austin's here? Shoot.
I'm Chris.
No, Crane, not really. Because what I'm saying is that we're going to put the emphasis on the things as you're doing them, but you shouldn't have to, when you say a study, this is how I picture it. You bring up a desert image, right? Or just Google desert, right? Look at a bunch of them. I want you to pick kind of the common thing between them all and do it real quick, okay? Then for the next part, cactus. Google cactus. Literally, this could take you an hour or two for the entire thing. You just have to learn to go. And that's what I want to teach you. I want to put that pressure on you, and I want you to be scared. And I want you to worry. You wanted me to kick your ass. That's what this is. I'm kicking your ass, and we're gonna do this. And like I said, if it turns out like crap, it's okay. That's the point. You do it until it gets better. It's basically when you get a giant lump of clay or a rock that you're gonna start breaking down. It's you do a couple chisels, right, and you're breaking it down to the base form. And then you're like, okay, that still doesn't look like what I want. And that's usually when people give up. You have to keep going, keep refining, keep figuring out, okay, well, that's not quite right. I have to do this and more, We're going to keep working on it. These are just assignments. Retain very little useful knowledge. Okay, maybe that's because you don't do a post-mortem with it. Do you ever look back at your piece and kind of critique it with an objective eye? Well, I didn't do the glass very well. I wonder why that is. What part of this doesn't look like glass? And then start kind of picking yourself apart. Because you're not going to learn from yourself if you don't actually grade yourself, You have to critique. You can't do it and then move on really quickly. Yeah, you're supposed to pump them out, but for your stuff is concept work, though. Concept work is totally a different mindset than just doing a piece. Ultimately it's up to you, but I don't know, I feel like we're gonna lose a lot of time with you doing studies, and ultimately I don't really believe in studies. So, like I said, if you aren't getting what you want to get out of it, and you'd rather do it that way, we can do that, but I'm just saying maybe even though that's the way you're working, you're still not doing it completely right. See, like this piece, I already screwed up here with the stupid, I don't want this eraser anymore. It actually just destroyed part of my piece, so
What?
I'm not going to use that.
What the fuck is this?
Well, I thought it was like your sumo, but it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
But anyway, it left a giant black spot on my piece,
Oh, yeah.
so I'm not going to use that again.
Yeah, no,
But
this
anyway,
is not the same shit.
so I gotta work with this now, and I'm forcing myself to do it because I'm not just gonna throw it away. I can fix it somehow later, but
Ugh.
oh good, Eric, so I'm glad you're getting some out of it.
Yeah, I'm not throwing this out. This is like,
I don't know what happened to it. I think it melted.
yeah, weird.
I don't know why it acted the way it did,
Mm.
but I can't use that.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
And it was that way last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't even like harden up again.
Hmm.
So I don't understand.
Cass, are you still around? What was that thing that she was saying? To dry
Yeah,
her water?
Crane, I'm gonna actually probably have to write an email for you with like bulleted points so we can do that, because I don't want you to just hear it verbally. I want you to have something you can look back on. So I'll make you another email later today, and you just want like to hear how I would go about it. Is that right? Were it me, let's say, and I had to do the assignment? Is that what you want to know? Cass said I'm taking a break and painting.
Oh. Cass, what was that thing you were saying that you use for to dry your watercolor quickly?
Oh, good, Paladin. I'm glad you enjoy it. I know sometimes I can sound like I'm getting heated up or whatever, but I'm just passionate. I think it sounds like I get more aggressive because I'm actually mad at myself for talking too slow. Like, I'm too slow for myself. And that's why sometimes if I stutter or I stop suddenly, my mouth has to catch up to my brain. And if I do that, I apologize.
Paladin, have you seen
Okay, Crane, I'll have to write you an email.
did you get a chance to check out what's this guy's name? Jimmy the Brush? I don't know if he's still here.
Jimmy, are you still here?
Yeah, I think he is.
Oh, embossing tool. It's what Tim used
Oh, okay.
for his gold things.
Yeah, no, I was just Grey Paladin is trying to start like twitching his miniature painting.
Mm-hmm. He does miniatures too.
Yeah, and he's got really great like videos, and obviously he is a partner. So I mean he is like the dude to look at.
He's
for
talking about Jimmy right now, not
Yeah.
Paladin.
Yeah. So Paladin, check out Jimmy because he's doing it right. He's doing a really good thing.
He might be a good one to kind of model yourself after.
Yeah, he and you need God on your side. I agree.
Lots of money.
Oh, you dealt with sergeants?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You were in the army. I keep forgetting that. We get a lot of vets in here.
Actually, I wonder how the British Army compares to the American Army.
I don't know,
You know?
but I mean, Nightshade's a vet.
Yeah.
We get a lot of them in here. So you guys have that much in common.
Embossing tool.
I mean, Crane, for the most part, if I could just sum it up really quickly for you, I just want you to kind of not think too much about it. I don't want you to sit and, wonder about it. I want you to get used to just drawing, or rather doing like series and just do them and be done with them and be okay with that and be like, all right, that thing's over with, on to the next thing, you know? Like, trying to just get rid of the, honestly, the prep work sometimes. Because really, doing too much prep work can sometimes psych you out of doing the actual project. So if you feel yourself starting to get scared of a project or paralyzed by it, I think it's really important you just go. Like, if you're getting to that point and nothing's really happening anymore, you gotta just go. Just do it.
They swap weapons. What? I imagine like the American Army has different standard issue like guns and rifles than the other military. And I bet you they're like, oh, I want to try this English gun. I want to try this American gun. This sounds cool. Eric's, the only things that I would recommend not using a blow dryer on is like acrylic, because that I think that if it dries really quick, it can cause like cracking. But for watercolor, it's like totally okay.
Yeah, he's kind of a gourd kid, Austin. I'm doing it kind of quick because I want to just do it quick. You know, just do things, you guys, because you learn a lot from your initial instincts too. But I wanted to get this out really quick and then go to this other piece I was doing. So I'm gonna just do that real quick. So the way I'm visualizing is this: do thumbnails of the whole thing. I choose a thumbnail to work with. I do a few studies each element. See, that's where I think you're trying too hard to make them really nice pieces. And I mean, I don't know what kind of artist you're trying to be by doing that, because to me that seems like a fine artist that's going to take a lot of time and to research every little element of their thing and to spend 30 hours on a piece. If that's what you're going for, okay, that's different. I didn't realize that's where you want to go. If you want to go that route, then we could probably extrapolate it to be 2 months and do the thing you want to do, or you want to, you know, research every little thing in it. But they're only 6x9. So this is why I'm saying to just do them. Just do them, and while you're doing them, I just want you to be cognizant of what you're drawing and things like that, because I think when you've explained to me in the past with how you work, you've been pushed into doing these concepts really quickly and you just pump them out and whatever. You don't really think about them. I want you to think as fast as you can, but to prioritize it to what needs to be the most accurate. Does that make sense?
I think I feel where he's coming from, because on occasion, like if I'm gonna draw something, like how he's saying, like to do, like do a study of it.
Sniggles, hi.
Hey, Sniggle. My study will be really quick, real shitty, but just enough for me to understand. Okay, this is how I'm gonna draw it. But usually I don't do more than 1 or 2. You know, it's just a like really quick studies just to get the idea. It's almost like when you're like, I don't play golf, but when I see people golfing, I see them like
do a swing. And
they do a swing. Yeah, just to like get the flow of how they're gonna hit it.
It's
and
a
then
practice swing.
Yeah, then they go up, or even baseball people, like these.
Yeah. So Gabe's saying just do it really quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you feel more comfortable doing a quick study, do it, but make sure it's only like 10-15 minutes. Like, there's no reason you can't do all of this really in a month. Like, if you can't do 4 pieces in a month, like, we can figure this out, but Jimmy's right, if you hate your own voice.
Yeah.
Well, bye, Emily.
Bye, Em.
Oh, in June. Okay. Well, we'll see you in June then, Em.
Yeah.
20-minute studies of stuff. I still even say 20 minutes is like,
that's gonna eat up a lot of time, especially if you're like, if you got like 20 elements, or like let's say 10 elements in your drawing. That's like 5 hours worth almost,
Yeah.
And it's usually not 20 minutes. Usually it turns into an hour, and you're like, shit.
Fire Seal's right. I've heard a lot of good things about Art of Fear. Sean actually read it too. He had good things to say. But I know you're afraid it's going to end up to be what you're doing right now, but we have to recalibrate how you do art. But like I said, what kind of artist do you want to be? And this goes for anybody here. Learning what type of artist you want to be is one of the hardest and best things you can actually figure out. Like Gabe and I, we're not the types to work on pieces for 30, 40 hours. That's not us. We like to do quick pieces and get them out, kind of make them rough, but we have ideas that we just want to keep doing, you know? Yeah, fire sale, totally. And it's just, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there's that idea, whereas if there's a study done where there are 40 students in a class, and 20 of them were told to do their grade would be dependent on one clay pot, right? And the other students were going to be graded on how many clay pots they made. So at the end of the semester, it ended up being that the people who had to make as many clay pots as they could were making the best clay pots out of all the students, whereas the ones that were told to just turn in one, their pots weren't so great because they were sort of taking their time.
And they would probably ruminate over, well, how does this part look? Maybe I should redo this. They're not going as much on their instinct. They're overthinking. And overthinking, I actually think, is an artist's worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
I think thinking less sometimes can produce better results than overthinking, over-rendering, over-detailing. Those are all bad to me. And like I said, these are, our personal experiences and thoughts, but that's not how we work. So figuring out how you like to work. Do you like spending 30 hours on a piece? That's important to know. Or would you rather spend 15 minutes on something small or a couple hours? Like my pet commissions, they range between 6 and 12 hours, and I'm just tapped out after that. I'm like, nah, there's nothing more I can do. I'm done. And you move on. We have friends, though, and for a while we were very pressured that we had to do what they were doing, when really that's not it at all. You're going to work how you're going to work, but you have to figure out how you work to be able to, honor yourself and do it right.
I think the worst part is that art for the past whatever hundreds of years, thousands if not, has been, you gotta take your time on this piece. It's gotta be well done.
Right. Right.
So we've been subjected to that, but I mean, there's people that do amazing pieces in 2 hours, and you gotta get yourself out of that element that you gotta take.
There's such a stigma.
Yeah.
Yeah, is what Gabe's saying. And it's true. There is a stigma where if you create art quick, you're not a good artist. It's totally untrue. That is not true at all. So, case in point, what I'm doing right now, okay? I've studied some trees in the past. I've studied some bark and some vines and water. So I had no reference when I was doing this piece because I didn't need it. I've done it before, and I try to retain, water has these kind of properties to it, and I've still got to go in and do actual spectral highlights and stuff, but you just want to start doing it, and using reference while you're doing it is good, but don't ever use reference to a T. Don't use it 100% one-for-one copy. Look at the reference and look at what makes that thing, right? Well, water has these elements. There's a shadow there. Why is that shadow there? Probably because it's contouring around the side of, the land, and there's a wave here. Well, why is that wave here? What happens with a wave? What happens to the top of it, the bottom of it? How does it connect to the rest of the body of the water? You have to start asking yourself all these questions for it to be a good study that you can retain later, to be able to do stuff like this where you just pull it out of air. Just pull it out of air. And I feel like too many artists nowadays are feeling too much pressure to use reference inappropriately. Because hyperrealism, I am not impressed with hyperrealism at all. Anyone can learn to do that. Anyone. I'm really impressed with things that come from people's heads. 100% them. They just go. Like what I'm doing right now, I'm just doing this from my head, right? I think that's the important thing. And Crane, I feel like that's what we're really teaching you, is how to retain and draw from your mind. Because that's going to be what's really valuable in the future, you know?
I wish Tim would take his own advice, because all his people look like Tim.
Yeah. Well, don't attack people.
No, I've told him before. Like, he needs to start drawing different people.
Oh, Fox, I don't know about YouTube versus Twitch. I know you can forward Twitch streams to YouTube when you're done. I do that all the time. But I didn't know about simultaneous streams. Okay, good. Crane, that's good. You don't want to spend 30 hours on a piece. That's a great first. I don't want to do this. Knowing what you don't want to do is just as important as knowing what you do want to do. So let's say, what does a 5-minute study to you entail? Let me try to figure you out more and what you mean by study. Because I have found out that when someone says study, they mean something different basically every time.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Gabe and I say a study, pretty sure it's not what you like are referring to. I mean, that could just be like a language barrier thing too. Like where you're at is different, like regional even. There you go, Eric's. See? Massive lags? Oh no. I don't know why it's lagging. Oh, that's why you brought up Tim, because Cactus said Tim.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you brought that out.
No, yeah.
Yeah, Tim's getting a lot better.
Yeah, he is.
He's getting a lot better.
Oh,
From
yeah.
when we first moved into Von House, he has gotten so much better. He's starting to do things he was afraid of originally. He had this ideal for pretty people and stuff, and now he's actually starting to draw ugly things, and he's branching out finally, which is really good.
So that's what I mean. Like, we told him, yo, all you do is draw yourself. Because a lot of his reference was just his self in the mirror, and then he would just basically photocopy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncanny says they love the way you color.
Oh, thank you so much.
But yeah, the photocopy thing isn't going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, there's no future in that. That's all I'll say about that. There's no real future in that. I mean, it's impressive right away, but it's not something that you can use.
There's no longevity to it.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing more than what you see. That's it. There's no story, there's no narrative. You know, I mean, even if you put in there, you obviously used a reference that already existed. And a lot of artists, you know, will say, well, if there's a photograph of it, it already exists and I don't need to do it, right? Like, I feel like part of our job as artists is to show people things that don't exist, right? So anyway, like me right now, I've studied bark and stuff, and I know what kind of trees I like to do. So remember when I've told you in the past, some of you, your style that you're so worried about finding will find you, but it will find you through trial and error of what you decide you want to include and exclude. Okay? If you don't want to do a ton of detailed stuff and you want to do really rounded figures and things like that, that's a style because you chose it, right? And because of your refinement over time, it ended up finding you, if that makes sense. So it's a relationship, really. Hi, Sneaky Wolf.
Hello.
Oh, that's good. No, Sniggle, that's good. Also, Sniggle, how are you? How's your rest schedule? You rested up? You doing good? How's work?
Oh, it's, Paladin asked, he works 8 hours per day on a commission for projects, and he was wondering if doing that many hours on Twitch will be good.
Yes. If you are one of those people that can marathon a stream with ease, you are going to get a lot farther than other people that just do a couple stints of like 2 hours. Uncanny Brand, how often do you guys do studies? Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Real quick before I read what Crane wrote. study to everyone means something different. Now, when I think study, I think of my friends that would just keep drawing an eye over and over and over and trying to get that right, looking at a reference, or an arm again and again, or doing a digital tutorial for just some metal or something. Studies are okay, but if you do them too much, more than you're doing actual pieces, it's going to be detrimental to you, because you could have been doing studies while making pieces. Application over research, right? Because as you're going, like for this, if I got stopped up at any point and I was like, well, what does a banana look like again? Just in case I didn't know what a banana looked like. Because I'm doing all this from my head, because I know what a banana looks like. But if I didn't, I would just Google really quick banana. Then I would look, okay, overall form, what's its silhouette? Then I would look at the key components that make that a banana. It's got a stem, it's got a very rigid shape with just a couple lines, and then it's got a little nub at the bottom, right? Think about it if you were going to simplify something for a child. How would you draw something for them to understand what it is? So when you break it down to what makes it that thing, you concentrate it, right? And get it down to its bare minimum. And if you can retain that, you can at any point call up, well, I want to make a banana. Do you know how to draw a mop? You know, these little things that you can call back at any point and just draw them. Really helps for Pictionary, to be honest. But that to me is a study. I bring it up really quick, take a mental photo of it and what all it has in it, and just store it. I don't know what your studies are like.
I probably draw it a few times, but I draw it like real quick, like just so that I can get it's muscle memory, so that I remember what the banana looks like in my hand and in my mind as I'm drawing.
Oh my god, Crane, no. Okay, so yeah, this is completely different than what I've ever done for a study. I've never done what you just said. I've never done a 1-for-1 and taken notes on it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe once I've tried to draw something from a photo or something just to see how close I get, but I don't consider that a study. Like studying something, you're looking at it, you're observing parts of it, you're retaining, you know, elements of it and characteristics.
You know what's that's the equivalent of? Going into an encyclopedia and writing down the definition of a word. Like, that's not going to help you. Like maybe if you wrote it, like, even if you wrote it 1,000,000 times, you're not going to remember, you know, like, it's not going to, like, stick in your brain, especially with art.
I'm going to guess it's actually similar to if you're learning another language, writing the word isn't going to help. You need to see what the word means, right? So with a study, I don't want you to do what you're saying. I honestly don't see a point in that. If you do anything out of that, maybe just looking at it and then not looking at it again after you've looked at it for like 30 seconds, look away and then draw it. That to me would be more of a study. You shouldn't write out like, okay, grass. Grass is pointy and it's somewhat flexible and it's kind of rough on the underside, but on the top it's very smooth. Like, what's the point of that? Right? You're not going to retain that really. And who cares? I mean you know a grass if you touch grass, you know?
I wonder though, like, if that's how he learns?
That might be.
Yeah.
That might be. Thank you, Uncanny.
I mean,
Appreciate the bits.
If that's the case, then okay. Then maybe that's your learning method. But I've seen a lot of people do that, and that doesn't make them any better.
I mean, Crane, I want you to do what you feel comfortable with, but I don't want you to waste time. If we can find a happy medium with that, where you're doing what you think a study is, or if you want to do one of each, where you do it one my way, you do one your way, see what feels better. You know, I'm up for anything. I just don't want you to do things that aren't helpful. Does that make sense?
You know what? You know where I've seen that a lot? When people do that? Really pretentious, like, urban sketchers. They'll draw, like, something, and then they'll write notes about it. Just to show off on the internet what their sketchbook looks like. It's almost like a thing that they do that's part of their thing that they do.
So, Crane, the problem with doing a 1-for-1, though, instead of a quick sketch of what sticks out, is the 1-for-1 can take a really damn long time, and it's a waste of time, is what I'm saying. Like, getting every detail in and stuff, no, there's no reason to do that. Get what matters down. Prioritize that thing, you know? Actually, urban sketching teaches you a lot about prioritization.
Yep.
Example, so when we say urban sketching, we mean going to like a city or a block or anything with buildings, architecture. When you draw a building, you have to figure out what parts of a building to draw and not to draw. And doing that over and over and over again will help you figure out what needs to be there for certain things to stick out. Because some things get super ornamental, and you do not want to draw every single piece of that. You don't need to. So that's when really good artists, I feel, the really skilled ones, when they draw something and they used a couple lines and you get it, right? That's how you know someone's really skilled. They don't have to do every little detail, right? It's more impressive if they hint it. If they just put where a shadow is and your mind fills in the rest of the shape, that's magic, right? But if they're like, it's the show don't tell, right? You're not telling them everything by just recreating the building. Maybe if you're swayed by technicality and like, you know, I don't know. If you're swayed by that, that's one thing. But I'm more impressed with if somebody can sum up something they see enough so I can see what they saw. Does that make sense? I don't think it's a contested area, Crane. I think it's just people end up finding their own religion with studies. You know, what works for them. Picking apart what works, what doesn't work, and it's an ongoing battle, but I mean, I want to help you figure out what works best for you. But in the past, if that's how you were doing studies and you were telling me that that was your problem with classes, is that you didn't want to do any of it because of that, if that's what you were doing, I would say don't do that. Try something completely different. Try a whole different method of studying. Because if that is how you were learning before and that was your aversion to learning, why would we do that again? You know? Oh, sorry, Fire Seal. Sorry about the lag, you guys. I don't know what's up with that.
It's probably because it's the middle of a Sunday and people watching internet.
Oh, thank you, Uncanny. Thank you. So, I give mentorships too, but Tim's, I don't know what they're like. I don't know what he does in his mentorships, but you're kind of seeing firsthand. Like, Crane is actually one of my mentees. We're talking about one of his assignments I've got for him, because the mentorship's basically kicking your ass. That's basically how I sell this one. We have a couple mentorships. We have a Twitch one, we have a con one, we have kick your ass one. Gabe's got watercolor ones if you like how Gabe's watercoloring. But yeah, it's a thing. And I do kick your ass. I will be honest with you. I will be brash with you. I will not hide things. Yeah, Crane, we can have actual like video chats or something too. I mean, that's part of the mentorship. If you want to just chat about this one-on-one, we could do a Google Hangout sometime or something. But yeah, Cactus, good point. What is Tim mentoring you if it's not art?
What?
People watching porn. It is Sunday. Sunday's the day of porn. Yeah, Uncanny, what are your sessions like? Okay, Crane. Can you explain to me then when you were telling me originally before we started the mentorship, what was it that you were saying you had a problem with learning? Was it that you didn't care enough, or that you didn't like the method of how it was being portrayed to you? Like, what was happening? Oh, you don't need a webcam. We can do just vocal.
Yeah.
No.
Just Skype call.
Or like just in Discord.
Yeah.
Discord chat.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No, you don't need a webcam. You're fine. I only say Google just because, like, if you had something on your screen you wanted to show me, Google has a nice screen share option. But yeah. Aw, Paladin, shut up. Thank you. I actually wonder if our neighbors know we have a stream. It's usually outside the window you can see in, and we have big banners behind us, and I'm obviously wearing ears, so...
I don't think you probably can't see that.
Our UPS lady did see me in ears. I don't know how to feel about it.
Did she?
Yeah. It's weird.
I feel we gotta like give her a present at some point.
Well, they switch a couple times though. It's her, another girl, and a guy.
No, there's only
There's a brunette and a blonde.
I haven't seen the blonde.
Yeah, the blonde was the one in the beginning.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the brunette is the one that's there like always. She's the regular.
Oh, fundamentals. I got you, Uncanny. That's good though. I mean, I hope it's been enlightening at least.
Wait, so then it is art.
Yeah, but it says they digress a lot. I
Oh.
actually wonder if have you been his mentee for a while? Because we might have actually heard you guys talking one time, and if that's true,
Are you a programmer?
oh yeah, he was a programmer,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Because when Gabe and I lived with Tim, we would overhear some of the mentor talks. I'm traumatizing her. I gave her a story to tell her family. Okay, I helped her. Her day was interesting because of me.
I don't know what they do over there, but
Well, I hope, Uncanny, if you feel a little cheated because of that,
Swindled.
maybe bring it up to Tim like, hey, I'm paying for these sessions. I feel like the past two haven't helped me, and I mean, partially that's probably my fault too, but could I potentially get two more added on for free because I feel like the other two didn't help me? Like, he's very reasonable. If you bring that up to him and, you genuinely feel that way, he'll be very, he'll listen. If that's their kink, right, Cass?
Yeah.
I swear to God, if anybody has seen me, they probably have thought that. No doubt.
Actually, they're probably thinking that's his kink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I guess he likes some elves.
Elves.
I guess. So.
I would guess they wouldn't even know what an elf was. I don't know. I've seen Star Wars. That's funny. Yeah. That's like, Mom, don't you mean Lord of the Rings? Oh, I don't know. Sure. Isn't that the same shit? Okay. Crane, if you could write me an email that has all the attributes of what reminds you of school so I can avoid them, that might be helpful. Because I don't know what's going to remind you of school and what's not.
Oh, Paladin.
Yeah, but Uncanny, you're paying for those. I mean, even if you
No.
don't feel like, cheated by it or anything, you are paying for those, right?
I mean,
So-
did you pay to become his friend or to become a better artist?
That's a fair point. My sister's ex-boyfriend told me my miniature painting is not art. What's your opinion on this? I consider it art because it's bringing lumps of plastic to life with color and realism. I don't see how it's anybody's place to really say what's art or not. So I would say he doesn't know anything.
I feel like that
It's up to
sounds
you.
like that dude being jelly.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's art. I don't see how not. You're
Yeah.
picking colors.
Yeah.
Gabe's picking colors right now.
I mean, like, not only that, but you are adding life to those things. Like, it doesn't, it's not easy to do what you're doing. Like, I've tried it. It's hard.
I will admit, in the past, I have said fan art isn't art, it's business. But it is art, but it's more business focused. So if anybody's thinking about the fact that I've said that in the past, that's what I meant. Anyway, we're not going to go down that road. I just wanted to point that out. That's why he's an ex-boyfriend.
Damn.
Called out. No, Uncanny or not. No. I understand how you can digress when you're talking about stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I mean, here, how about this? Maybe bring that up to him, but every discussion you guys have, every session, have a goal, okay? When you start it with him, be like, okay, by the end of this session, I would like to have this. Like maybe it's a critique on a certain piece, or maybe it's figuring out how a certain thing is done. Whatever it is, maybe have that as the ground rule when you start that session. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, you know, because Tim is more than happy to accommodate if, you know, you've got feedback on how he's teaching you, you need to tell him. And you can be soft about it. You know, it's not going to come across like you're upset or anything. But, you know, being honest is extremely important. And everybody associates honesty with being mean. No, you can be honest and caring at the same time.
I think he'll appreciate it too.
Yeah, he also, to actually point out, it's extremely hard to offend Tim.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I lived with him for 2 years. The only time he ever got offended was when someone said something very specific about a family member. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot offend that guy. He's great in that sense. So tell him what you're thinking. He'll be very understanding. You know, he'll listen to you, especially since you're his mentee, you know. He's great like that.
And not to mention, you are the customer, you know, and if you have problems with the product, you should tell the person who's giving you the product.
Sneaky Wolf, that's interesting. I can agree though. So I get what you're saying, and I think it's because we like to think of the creative mind as a muscle, and you need to work it out. If you're told to create like that and you haven't worked out your creative muscle, you're not going to have anything. And this is why in the past I've said fan art can be bad for you, because it's not working your creative muscle. You need to actually like look at things and think about things and be aware of things and put them into your art purposefully. And if you do that over and over and over again, like what Gabe and I are doing right now, these are from our brains. That's it. We're just like, oh, let's do this. And then one thing leads to another, right? And that's because we've done it so many times where we've just thought of ideas out of thin air that we enjoy. We know what we like. We know what aesthetics we like to incorporate, colors we like to use, all this stuff. We've already thought about it. That's why we can just throw down immediately. For somebody, though, that's just not really had as much experience as us with that sort of thing, they're going to have trouble, you know, and the only way you're going to get better at it is to do it.
And honestly, like, that's becoming an artist is, you know, like, especially if you're going to become like a professional artist where you get a job to create something, like that's all you do is they tell you, I want this, I want you to create this. And if you get turned off by that, then maybe that's not like the right thing for you unless you just want to do it for fun.
Oh, Paladin, he is very sci-fi. So it's funny because Gabe is the sci-fi, I'm the fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we'll merge into each other, and he does sometimes space medieval stuff, like ancient spacey medieval like wizardry, and I'll do like organic versions of robots and stuff. So sometimes we kind of, you know, cross paths, but I don't know, it's pretty fun. Hi DHT.
DHT, welcome back. Inspiration, nothing. I like doing off-world stuff. Really. I've actually stopped looking at other people's work as much as I used to, just because it
steers you.
Yeah, it steers you in a direction, and I sort of just want to steer myself in my direction.
And I mean, that's when you get to a certain point, though.
Yeah.
When you get to a point where you no longer want to be influenced by what you see as much, it helps we don't watch TV, we don't see movies. We're always in our heads. So we're kind of isolated in that fact, but what you end up seeing of ours is what we see, you know, and to me that's the real heart of art, is to be able to show people what you see, you know, in your mind. Recreating other things other people have already seen, it's like, why? But like I was saying, with the creative mind, you just gotta start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of prompts, dissect things you see, draw from life, stuff like that, everything. Hi, Anton. Yeah, Uncanny, if you have anything to say at any point, that goes for any of you. If you guys have any questions, any feedback for us, anything like that, feel free to say it.
Yeah, Anton, that's my biggest inspiration, I guess you could say. It's Mobius and a bunch of different other like old 70s and 80s French art, comic art. That's my shtick.
I feel like, you know, when you're finding your style and whatever, when you're doing the trial and error for the things that work and the things that don't, and, you know, whittling down what works for you, that's when you're looking at other people's stuff. Once you find an area you like to work in, it's still up to you if you want to keep looking at things, but, like, Gabe and I don't even buy art books anymore because, you know, we don't really want to look at anything too much. If we want more input into our art, we're going to go look at real things. And we're at the point where we know what we'll do, so it's like putting it through a filter. You're just pouring in what you see, and out comes what we see. And to actually streamline that takes a long time, basically. I guess that's a good way of putting it. Like, we have our own filters now. We've built a machine. We've built a translator. Exactly, Sneaky. You get it. Paladin's asking you to repeat.
Inspiration really is from old 70s.
Pulp?
No, it's like sci-fi comics, like sci-fi European comics from the 70s and 80s. So like heavy metal, Judge Dredd. I never really got to like read any of the 2000 AD stuff, but all those artists that worked on it, like they always inspired me. But before that was like a bunch of anime and stuff and like American comic books. But in the past 10 years, it's been like all the old 2000 AD and heavy metal magazines. But I guess as a kid, like I had a heavy metal magazine, but I had to like hide it all the time because it had boobs and stuff and like sex. But I always remember liking.
Flipped.
Huh?
Your mom would have flipped.
Oh yeah.
How long that would take? What in particular, Uncanny? Sorry, I probably was talking too fast and didn't even listen to myself. That's good, Eric's. That's what we're here for, man. That's what anybody who streams really. Oh yeah, Cactus, 100%. And a moon. I mean, really, we just started streams originally because we were doing art anyway, and we were like, well, maybe we could talk to our other artists and whatever. And Gabe and I kind of have these personalities, though, that end up being kind of nurturing and whatever, so we end up being kind of friends and mentors, I guess. And just know that just because somebody has a platform and they stream or they do anything, remember to take what they're saying with a grain of salt. That works for them, whatever they're saying. And I usually try to disclaim what we're saying with this. It works for us, but you're going to be able to eventually figure out what works for you. If you keep at it, you will. Crane, we're all your art friends.
No.
What are you saying?
Maybe not like locally, but yeah.
Absolutely. This is your art jam.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that way. Like, I really hope when you guys come here, you are doing something artistic. In one way or another. Uncanny, are you still here? I want to know what you meant by ask how long that would take. What you're referring to. Gabe, Paladin asked you a question.
Oh, yeah. Holy shit. I don't know where Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds, Paladin.
Do you have the thing? I don't even know what he's doing right now. What are you doing?
doing something.
Oh, he's being shifty. Mr. Secret's over here. Oh, bye, Cactus. It was great having you.
Hi, Doug.
Thanks for coming. Come back whenever you can. We love you. Gabe's still digging. Sounds like a hammo.
Are you talking about this? Starcom? Fuck yeah, I know Starcom. At least I think it's Starcom. Maybe
Sneaky
not.
Wolf, that's great. Good for you. That takes a lot of guts. I'm proud of you. You know, if you guys are ever even thinking about opening yourself up to take requests and stuff, just do it. If you have that thought, like maybe someone would like my stuff and I can do, you know, some art for somebody, just start doing it. I mean, you'll learn a lot from it. Like, you'll have experiences that you can use, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, there you go, Firestone.
How long will you guys be on? Oh, maybe another hour, I
Hanfet?
guess?
I don't know who Hanfet is, but I'm assuming it's a boba. Wes! Oh,
Wes.
bits!
Welcome. Thank you for the bits. And Uncanny, thank you for all your bits, too. I appreciate it. Feeding his dog balloon.
You had that one? Yeah, man. When I was a kid, I had well, I had maybe like one, but my cousin, like, he was a only child, and so his dad had like a pretty good job, and so he would always get like all the new toys. Like, he had like shit tons of Transformers, G.I. Joes, He-Man, all the things, and he had like 4 or 5 of the planes, but the planes had magnets on them, or I think it was just steel plates. Because these little dudes have magnets on their feet, so you can like put them, you know, like on planes, or we would like play with them like on the fridge. But yeah, these guys, man, love them dudes. I should have kept the box though. I don't know why I didn't keep the box. I think I just tore them out. Yeah, man. I'm all about them little toys. That's why I'm gonna start making little toys. You know what I was thinking about, Ash?
Huh.
I think I'm gonna be able to make. I'm gonna try to make like Chonkers toys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I told you to do that.
I know you did, but I was kind of discouraged because I didn't think that I could get them very smooth.
I'm more worried about you being able to get them small, because your last one,
Oh, this big one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I told you to do like an inch, and you went 4 inches.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like,
I wanted to make a bigger thing, but
I told you not to. Start small.
well, it's because like my fingers and all that. I didn't have the tools to do it.
And that's what I'm saying. So if
Yeah.
you do a small one, you need to focus on doing a small one.
Yeah. And so that's why I got tools, and I've been watching those videos of how they do it.
You had tools before.
I did, but I didn't understand how to use them. That was the problem too. I didn't do the
Okay,
studying.
that's different.
Yeah, I should have studied before we did that. That's
I
true.
know.
Yeah.
I told you to.
No, I looked up like the female stuff, but all the things I saw were like bubbly characters. You know, like it's for like stay-at-home moms and shit that like. You know what I mean? But this one dude that I'm backing on Patreon, like he at $1. Everyone should back someone at $1. It supports them greatly.
It really does.
He uses Sculpey or Fimo, and then I was seeing how he does it. So you can totally do it that way. But the armatures are really gonna help. I think that's what's gonna help me.
It's a mouthful.
Oh yeah, Snickle. That's not an addiction though. That's like that's okay. Yo, at Tim's house.
Oh, Eric's. Thank you. That's cute.
At Tim's house, they have so many Monster Hunter drawings. Sorry.
What?
Oh, cute. They have so many Monster Hunter toys, and like, did you see the one on Sean's desk?
I saw no Monster Hunter
No.
toys.
Oh, the Monster Hunter monsters are so great. Some of them are like so great. And I want to play it, but I don't want to
Oh,
waste my
bye,
time.
Fire Seal.
Bye, dude.
Swole first, then eat, or else you're gonna throw up.
Yeah, please. We have a castle.
I don't like how low this is.
Hey man, one of these days, we're gonna go back to England, and we're gonna see more castles.
Oh wow, Sneaky Wolf, that's great. That's incredibly good. I don't even have that kind of...
Oh yeah,
That's great. That's a great pull.
yeah.
Erics, I'm proud of you for doing something quick.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, Monster Hunter seems fun, but I know it's also just grind porn, so I can't do that.
I like small, short games.
If-
Like, usually indie games work really well for me.
If they could make a Monster Hunter where it was less about like
Monsters and more about hunting.
well no like if no because that's what it is
I
right
know,
now.
I'm
It's
kidding,
hunting.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding. He's all lit up right now.
I'm all lit.
Hey, you need to settle down.
Okay, I gotta settle down. The coffee is surging through my veins like
He's getting angry. He's hulking. I'm keeping him from hulking out. Hey, big guy.
Okay, sun's coming down.
Sun's getting real low.
Yeah.
It is.
yeah.
It's like 6 o'clock.
Yeah. But no, I like if it didn't rely so much on me having to constantly hunt things and then make weapons to do that shit. If it was less that
Yeah.
and just fighting giant robots or giant animals.
Annie Mouse.
Yeah.
Oh, Gabe. Poor Gabe.
I do like the idea of spending hours and hours and hours to like build a weapon, but Gabo don't got hours and hours and hours to build a weapon.
So I miss playing MMOs. I loved MMOs, and I haven't played them for years now because I do not have time for MMOs. I do not have time for myself. The fact I'm taking this time right now to do this is stressing me out because I'm not working on what I'm supposed to be working on. But I know in the long run, this is a smart thing for me to do right now. For mental health wise, as well as I can sell this. So for me, this is a good investment currently. But afterwards, I'm going to be busting my ass working on what I need to be working on, which is putting someone's hamster in armor, which is the best job I can possibly imagine. So I'm okay with this. Hi, Bees. What's up?
Bees.
Everybody go check out Jar of Bees. If you can. Click his thing and go look. He's great. Not only is he a fantastic guy, top-notch person, he's got a really adorable, cute heart. He's great. Also, Bees, how's my commission coming along? Am I going to be able to look at that online, or what do you want to do?
Uh-oh.
It's up to you. I don't care either way. I'm okay with surprises. I'm okay if you want to stream it. Or maybe stream it. I won't watch it. I'll get it, and then I'll go watch it. It's true, Uncanny. Yeah, I feel like there's a certain time in your life for every little thing. So I went through my MMO phase. I got a lot out of that. I actually used Warcraft at the time to help me think of a story. And it has nothing to do with Warcraft. But being in that realm really got me out of my current situation, which was depleting my creativity. So having an escape when you're in a bad situation is good, because then you can actually produce things by using that vehicle. So at the time, it's what I needed, and it ended up actually helping me. I was never obsessed to where I wasn't checked into real life. I was always in real life, and I never played for like 14 hours or something crazy. You know, you need to have one foot on the ground, but, you know, there's a lot of inspiration with it back in the day.
I do miss Destiny, though.
Well, of course you do. It's more sci-fi.
Well, our Destiny nights...
Destiny was really fun for us because it was a good mix of medieval and sci-fi, which we both enjoyed. But we haven't played Destiny 2, and we've heard it's shit. And we basically beat Destiny 1. We did beat it. We just didn't do all the missions. Sniggle's asking you how many cups or drinks you have in front of you.
I mean, 1 cup.
He has a water cup and a water bottle.
And then a little water tin thing. American comics.
What do you mean I called everyone out at C2E2? What did I do? No. There you go, Uncanny. Yeah, and everybody has that sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why if I ever was a mom for whatever reason and my kid got super absorbed in something, as long as they're not forgetting about the world around them completely, it's okay. You know? Moderation. Everything in moderation. It's fine. A raving lunatic throwing cats in real life. I have to admit, Twitch has actually affected me in real life, so I actually have conversations more differently now than I used to. And I don't know if I'm better at it or worse. I kind of get on rants though, similar to, because I have no one stopping me, so it's good when I actually dual stream with Gabe, because it'll be a conversation. If I'm just alone, you get used to hearing yourself talk a lot, which is okay, but then when you're in an actual situation talking to people, you have to... I caught myself last night, because we were around 20 people and there were so many conversations. I had to stop myself, or like at one point be like, okay, stop talking to myself, right? And then I'd stop, I'd let them go, and then think, okay, you could go in now, and then, you know? Like, I forgot how to have a conversation, which is kind of the downside of Twitch. A lot of practice art, and then just become surprised when something is actually good. I feel like if you're still... Aw, Uncanny, thank you for the follow! I appreciate that. Be sure to follow Gabe, too. If you like what Gabe's doing, you like what Gabe's saying, maybe how he looks, who knows?
If you want.
Follow Gabe. His info's at the top right. Eric's, I feel like I've got to put myself back in college mode me. When I was doing a lot of life drawing back in college, I had that. I remember having that realization, but I wouldn't have it till a couple days later, and I would be looking at it, and I'd be like, that wasn't half bad. And at the time it looked like crap because you were doing so many of them. But back in college, yeah, where we're at now, we don't have time to really reflect like that even, and I feel like you kind of get over that because you're not thinking anymore when you get to a pro status, is this good or is this bad? You've gotten to a point where you've refined your work and your art to be an art and like a formula, so it's not about how you feel as much about it anymore. It's not like, oh, am I bad? You don't associate yourself with your art anymore. That's what it becomes. So you're not saying, I'm bad. You're saying, this one's not so good. You throw it out, right? It's a confidence thing. That's all it is. Oh my God. This is great. Okay, so maybe that's the difference between becoming professional and being a hobbyist.
Yeah.
Is you're a hobbyist when you're still beating yourself up for what you're doing. And you're still pushing yourself. When you get to be a professional, you're doing it so much, it's the art's fault at that point. And you throw it out if you don't like it, you know? Gabe's hair looks whack today.
It is whack today.
Sniggle says.
It's because I took a shower.
He cleaned it?
No,
Wipe
it's
it to
because
the side or whatever.
Yeah, it's because I washed it today, so it's not being nice.
Oh, good. You followed Gabe and saw me from Gabe's? Good.
Oh, thank you.
Good. I don't think you have to. You don't have to go to college. I was just talking to somebody about this today. Whether you become a freelance artist or a desk artist, I'll call it like a career artist or artist for a company, is all going to really depend on where you see yourself. And it's not so black and white. Paladin, thank you for the bits.
Thank you.
You're so sweet. I'm actually drinking matcha right now, funny enough. Just to prove it. But I usually say, make a list of the things you want later in life. Do you want a house? Do you want a family? Do you want freedom? Do you want to choose your own schedule? Do you want to work for someone and create art for someone's specifications? Or do you want to work for yourself? and always be creating your own art. Depending on all these factors, it's going to weigh more one side or the other what you end up doing. So early on, it's good to do that, I think, before you even go to college if you can. Because, you know, you're going to need a bachelor's for a certain desk job. Like Gabe and I, we have bachelor's degrees. But I was in mobile games for 10 years. I used mine for those 10 years. But now I'm not really using it anymore. But it did get me as far as I am now. So, what kind?
Not Starbucks. Don't worry about what kind it is.
It's not. It's actually Rishi. Hopefully that's not too bad.
You'd be like, oh, that's bad for you. Everything's bad for you.
Crane. I know, right? So to be fair, I'm speaking retrospectively, right? I actually was lucky enough to live one life, then be able to pull a 180 and go the other way. So I was in the desk job for, 10, 15 years. Not my thing. It took me that long to realize it. And I knew all along, like, I'm not exactly as happy as I know it could be, because everything I did seemed to be really against who I was and against the grain. Like I was always kind of scraping through, and it's like, I'm not very happy. Now I'm happy, but there are sacrifices to both sides. This side, no health insurance unless you get really rich and stuff from freelance. Depending on how good you eventually get at freelance, you can get the stuff from the other side. So let's say you want a family and a house and all that stuff. You can do that with freelance, but there's a lot of stuff ahead of time you have to get a foundation for to be able to get that stuff later. Gabe and I don't want a house. We don't need a house. We don't want to have a family. We just want a dog. If we can get an apartment that's big enough with a dog, we're done. That's it. Like, we're happy there. But I had a house. I had a career. I was almost going to have a baby, which is so not me. And now I know that. But back then, all his family, my husband at the time, his family was very much influencing how I was thinking, and that, you're going to have a baby next. It was very much check 1, check 2, check 3 on the list of what you're supposed to do when you become an adult. I just want to remind you guys that no matter what anyone has ever said to you, you are in charge of what you do. And if you don't want to do something, you don't have to do it. And if you've done something and decided you don't want to do it anymore, get the fuck out. There's no reason you have to stay there, ruin your life. Sure, it might affect other people, but you gotta get selfish sometimes. If you burn bridges, if you, have to get away from someone, move somewhere, you have to do it for yourself, or else you're gonna regret it your entire life. And that's worse than having to deal with the repercussions of your decision to go be happy. Does that make sense? Like, one's torture and one's a quick rip-off,
Here's a fun fact. If you're in America, if you are pretty poor, like if you make less than $15,000 a year, you just get free healthcare, by the way. You can also get food stamps. So if you're an artist and you're just making money at shows and you're doing a lot of cash transactions and you're making all right rent, the government thinks that you are poor as shit and you get free healthcare. So
you can. You have to. I've been trying to, and they have this very strange thing with it.
Here they have that.
Yeah.
It's difficult here.
Hi, Soggy.
Soggy.
How do you get to the point where you get away from seeing your art as part of yourself? Make shit tons of art.
Mm-hmm.
The more art you make, the less attached you get to it. So the more art you make, the more you're okay with just letting it go. And you start actually leveling up, and your momentum keeps you going. And when you've made a lot of art, that's when you're not connected to any of it really, and you're just making because you gotta create and you keep going. So I would say the best thing to do is to eliminate fear by making shit tons of art. I don't care if it's crap. I don't care if it's some lines. I don't care if it's really bad looking people. You have to be okay with seeing something you've done be horrible. I want you to be able to look at it, almost laugh at it, and be like, that is really bad. Okay, well, let's keep going. Never say, I'm so horrible. Never blame yourself for how your art looks, okay? It's just gonna take time. Everything's gonna take time. You have to be patient with yourself, you know? Yeah, then Sneaky Wolf,
Well,
don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't
All
do
right.
it. If everything in you is saying that's not me, you have to do you. And you might lose your family. And if that's what has to happen for you to be happy, I'm sorry, but that's what has to happen. And it'll hurt for a while, yeah, but you need to be happy. And if you trust yourself to know what you need and what you want, go.
I mean, what's better, like making your family happy or making yourself miserable?
Yeah. And I mean, if you're the type that wants the car, the kids, the house, awesome.
It's great.
There's nothing wrong with that
Mhm.
either. You know, get them. You just gotta do you. I don't care what your thing is. If you're into kinky shit, awesome. Do you. If that's what makes you happy, as long as what you like doesn't hurt people. That's the only caveat. Don't hurt anyone. Like, hurt them.
Yeah,
If
physical.
something you do, like, psychologically hurts someone a little bit, like if you have to leave someone, you know, that might have to happen. You know. I had, this is kind of weird. So someone on my Facebook 2 days ago put up a post that said, and I didn't even talk to you about this,
Mhm.
it said, you guys ever had that feeling when you look at the Facebook birthdays and you look at that person and you just start saying, I hope you burn in hell, I hope you have a worst birthday ever, blah, blah, blah. I commented on her thing, I'm like, why are you Facebook friends with this person if you're cursing their birthday and hoping they burn in hell? I'm like, that's when you just shed someone.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have somebody like that that's in your feed, in your stream. I don't care what it is. That's detrimental. That just put negativity in your head, you know? And I tried to explain this to her. It's just inviting drama. Don't invite drama, man.
Cass, if you're assassinating the right people, that's okay.
Paladin, that's great.
Mhm.
I'm glad you knew that ahead of time, you know? Save yourself. Everybody, save yourself.
Mhm.
Because that's what's going to matter. You got to get selfish before you can care about others, okay? Crane, don't be a serial killer. Sniggle, I read that as, what if I'm a boner? Sorry. Now I can't see what you actually wrote.
Charity starts in la casa.
Gearing up to fight. Yeah, it's weird. It's good. I'm proud of you guys.
Mhm.
You know, you're going to have so many people come and go through your life that the ones that matter will stay, you know, and you're going to outgrow people, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if you have to tell somebody, even straight up, I've outgrown you, you have to. I've had to do that a few times. You just have to do it to be who you are, you know, stuff like that. And it's okay. They're going to get hurt. They might even slander your name. That's okay. I mean, you got to do you, right? And if somebody thinks you're an asshole because you're trying to look out for you, that's their problem. And if the people they're saying mean things about you to believe them, that's not up to you either. And you just have to get over it. You have to ignore it. One of my hardest, worst traits I have is that I care too much. And I care too much about what people think and say of me sometimes. Or I even worry about what they're saying. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's just all detrimental. It's all going to be terrible to you. For you. You know? You're creating drama that isn't there most of the time. So the sooner you can learn not to care, honestly, it's good. Or at least learn what to care about.
Like your art. Don't care about your art
Don't care about your art?
to a certain extent.
Art's a different story.
Yeah.
When in regards to people, you have to, you know, learn how to do that. But art is both. You have to learn how much to care
Mhm.
and when. It's picking battles with art. Boners hurt people too. Yeah, Uncanny, we are going to be at SuperCon, yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of us, Von House, us, we're all going to be at SuperCon, yeah. Do you live around there? So, Cass, you're saying it's nurture versus nature. I actually, oh god, what was it? I forgot where I heard it. Do you remember where I heard the thing about nature and evil? Was that on TV somewhere?
Oh, no, I think you just said it, that there's no evil in nature.
Something had made me think of it,
yeah.
actually. So, what I find interesting is, you think about it, nothing in nature is evil. Because evil denotes a construct of, like, the thing needs to know good from bad. To do evil, you need to understand how to do good. To do evil purposefully, right? So everything in nature is running off primal instincts, so that means they're not thinking this is an evil thing to do. They're not conscious that there's a good and a bad decision. There's just a decision, right? And I just found that very interesting to the fact that, you know, nothing is evil. There's no ill intent when it comes to animals and stuff. They're doing what they need to do. They're not saying, oh yeah, I'm so evil, I'm doing this thing to this thing and it feels great and blah blah blah. Like, there are no serial killers technically in nature because nothing is doing anything out of evil intent. It's doing it out of necessity. And if it's out of necessity, I feel like there's no evil. I just found that very interesting. I don't know. Oh, that's awesome, Uncanny.
Cool. Oh, neat.
I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, sneaky. I'm sorry that you have to deal with that. That is very scary. And it does suck that people would want to hurt you for that, and that's not okay. Just always know that that's not okay on their part. You know. Well, for the most part, you guys, like, getting pleasure out of doing evil is not a natural occurrence usually.
Bye, Attack Fox.
Bye, Fox!
I think.
I don't know, my dog is pooping on the carpet, they said.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Sneaky Wolf, I'm so sorry about that. You know?
I think also, though, like, in terms of, like, for females, you guys have to worry about being attacked also.
Just in general?
In general. Like,
Yeah.
if you're walking down a you know...
Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously, men don't have to worry about that as much. Like, not nearly as much.
Cat calls aren't gonna scare you.
No. But I know, like, living in a very big gang-related... area, like, I had to deal with that. So, like, I understand, but I'm sure it's not even, like, leagues of, you know, like, to the extent of what y'all, you know. But I've definitely been walking down the road, and there's just, like, a crew of dudes were just staring me down, and it's like, alright, I'm not wearing your colors.
My thing is that I don't care, you know, what you're about, what you're into, who you are, anything like that. If you're a jerk, if you're an asshole, if you are just mean to people, I don't care anything about you. If you're that, I don't want to be close to you. Also, if you're crazy. I've ditched at least 3 people in the past year because they were crazy. And I mean actually somewhat insane, but mean. They're mean. So that was the core of it. They were mean, but... Oh, Eric's is leaving. Okay, Fox. Bye, Eric's.
Bye, Eric's.
Oh, sorry I misread. Yeah, Eric's. Bye. Just know this is a safe place for you, Sneaky Wolf. I promise. If anybody would attack you here, I would kill them. In a loving way. For you. I'm not gonna kill them, but I'm gonna boot them. I'm not a jerk. I'm just honest. Listen, would you rather have me yelling at you because I care, or not talking to you because I don't care?
Boom.
Yeah. Pick it. My downside and weakness is that I care too much. And usually I take that home with me, if you know what I mean. Like I just think about it outside of work, which, you know, is here and now. Honesty is reject. Shut up, Sniggle. You know better than to say that. Shit, too much water. Oh, interesting. Never thought about it like that, Paladin.
Yeah.
It does take a certain type of person to be able to do that stuff, I'll tell you that.
To just go like
Cut people.
yeah, or blow up buildings and shit. Like, well, I know that there's some terrorists in there, and there might be some humans, some regular people that didn't do shit.
'Cause
But
apparently terrorists aren't humans.
gotta blow up. Well, sort of. But
Yeah, they're all humans. They're
Yeah.
just at different levels of humanity.
lack of apathy.
Yeah.
That's probably one of those things.
You
Yeah.
mean empathy?
Empathy.
Empathy. That's what you mean.
Yeah.
Empathy, not apathy.
Well, Crane was saying it.
Well, apathy is caring, or rather the act of not caring. If you're apathetic, you don't care. A lack of empathy is caring. That's usually what they say, is it's a lack of empathy. That's why people who kind of take on attributes of other people, if someone's sad and they become sad, they're an empath. They're taking on those feelings from someone else. Cass, you mean empathy. You guys. Our friend Tyler, he's apathetic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an empath. I'm the opposite of Tyler. We used to actually argue a lot because he was like, why can't you just not care? I was like, it's not that easy. I have to care. It's part of who I am. I don't know how not to care. So him and I had a lot of headbutting moments because of that. Because he found it really easy to not care about stuff, where I was the opposite. But I've learned, at least art-wise, what to care about and what not to. Like, there have already been times during this piece that I've been doing right now in front of you that I've been like, that part sucks. Oh well, keep going. You just have to say, oh well, keep going. Crane, I had that. When my mom died, I didn't really care. But that's different. That, I feel like in that case, it's based off your experiences with them. So that's, you can't just really blanket that one. For certain people, like saying that I didn't care doesn't mean I'm a terrible person, right? Obviously there's some reasons I didn't care, but that doesn't necessarily, you can't just say, oh, Ashley's a bad person because of this, right? So everything is kind of a gray area usually with that kind of stuff. There's going to be reasons people do things, and that's the part I feel like as a society we don't dig into enough, people's intent. So that's one of the things I think, give someone the time of day to explain themselves. Benefit of the doubt stuff. That's because I feel pets are pure. This is the other thing. Animals are pure. They're going to do things strictly out of just the fact they're honest. They can't lie. Animals can't really lie. Like, you always know if they're lying because they suck at it. But they can't really because they're always acting on pure instinct,
Except
right?
for cats.
Well, no, cats too. But people can plot. People can manipulate. People can be bad. You lost your favorite spoon, Soggy. No.
I feel your pain.
Oh no. I mean, I've had pets that I've had more of a connection to than anyone in my family ever. You know? Like, I care more about my hamster right now than I do my dad. It's just a thing. Like, you choose what you care about, but what you choose doesn't necessarily make you horrible. It's the reasons why you choose things. Just remember, it's the why, not the what. If that makes sense. I think that's a good way to put it. Anti-human.
Now you've gone too far.
I agree, Sneaky. I actually grew up in a nursing home, like from age 11 to probably when I was 20. So I got used to my friends dying, because a lot of my friends were elderly. They were my old people, you know, my residents, I called them. And they, you know, I'd go into work and they'd just be dead. So you just get used to mortality sometimes. And I mean, that just happens. So I don't consider that apathy in the sense that I just consider that being real. And I mean, realistic is just, in a sense, also honesty, right? You just know it's going to happen. But you get accustomed to it. You get acclimated to it. But I don't think that means I'm apathetic towards it. It's not an uncaring out of a bad place. It's just that I've dealt with it enough. It doesn't mean any death is less important. It just means that you're more apt to take care of it well, if that makes any sense. It could, Crane. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm not a doctor, but I could definitely see that having an effect on it. I mean, anything, depression or otherwise, that you're mentally going through, even physically, obviously, I mean, anything can affect you. Soggy, how's the job search? You want to talk about it? Okay, Soggy. Well, remember, if you ever want help, you've got people. Don't forget. Are you laughing or are you...
I was saying,
Okay. Yep, it's true. You get acclimated. And I mean, comfort zones are just as bad as being in a bad place, honestly. Comfort zone can be your undoing as well. I'm with you, Cass. I like being alone too. Luckily, I'm in a relationship where I can feel like I'm alone even when I'm with him. Which, I don't know if that's just over time I've been able to hone that, but I don't know. I'm okay alone too.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, being alone with yourself is an important skill, I think, to have. I need to get some lighter lead.
Lighter?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
just lighter lead. Guess I don't know how else to say it. Not as dark.
Mm-hmm.
you guys should know also, you may not be an introvert or an extrovert. You can be an ambivert, which I usually describe myself as. You enjoy being alone, you can be alone, you recharge alone, but you can also be an extrovert when you need to be. So when you're at a party, you're not debilitated in a corner, not able to talk to people. You can still be social and stuff. It just kind of saps you. But ambiverts do exist. Do we ever airbrush? I have in the past, but I can't find a applicable way of doing it to my art currently. But I've done it in the past. I don't think Gabe has, though.
I mean, like, when I was a kid, I guess, but yeah, I never... It's too...
It's a lot of setup.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no, yeah, I think that's the...
And also,
setup,
I used to work at the Mall of America doing caricatures, and we used airbrushes, so I did that a lot for that back then. So, I don't really do it for anything nowadays that isn't, like, a figure or something. I don't do it on, like, 2D media, I guess, if I do it.
If I'm, like, getting, like, like, having to switch out the colors, too. That's, like, if, I mean...
Well, it's, you've got them prepared. You take out the bottle, then you put in a water, and then you spray. It's just like your pens.
Yeah.
You spray it clean, and then you put the new one on.
Yeah, so, like, so...
You basically have to do all your color at once.
Yeah.
For one.
So with me, like, my colors I like to get dynamic, so if I'm mixing a color and I need it immediately, like I can't imagine that I could do that with airbrush, like
you can blend
as
on
quickly
the paper,
as I want. Okay.
but it's not your kind of workflow.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I think airbrush really depends on the artist and how you like to work.
Yeah.
Basically. Bye, Sniggle.
Hi, dude.
Get some sleep. I'm sorry, Sneaky Wolf.
Yeah, it sucks.
That's no good. Remember, the world isn't usually, like, it doesn't know what you're going through. Like, the things that happen in the world are chaotic and just coincidence if it aligns with something that's happening with you. Never try to take it personally, like something's out to get you, because that's just not what's going on. So just know if it happens, it's just a coincidence, and you're still okay. You know.
Do you J Crowd? Do you use them for like just like the base paint, or I mean?
No, you could get down close. It's just so. It's the same thing I was saying about Sculpey and acrylic.
Uh-huh.
It just looks like shit. Like you have to airbrush for it to be smooth.
Okay.
Yeah, and soft.
Gotcha.
Bunny, you've been here, I know.
Wild Bun Bun.
Bunny's a lurker. She's a lurker bun. What gets me excited to draw? So, funny, Tim actually ended up taking something from me a while ago, which he said he credited me on, so that's cool. But I have this thing called a happy list that I encourage everybody to always make. It's basically just making a list of 5 things, no matter how good or bad you draw them, that you're just always happy to do. For me, it's like leaves, mushrooms, wood, like critters. I forget the list that I gave Crane, but there's like a list of just things that if you're just doodling that you're happy to do. And usually I say that's a good list to have to get you excited to draw. So for me, I don't need to look at a list. I've kind of got it all up here. And most of the time, I'll just get excited by seeing something that I'm like, oh my god. Like these, for example. I saw one guy that was doing these. Here's this one, and then this other one I was doing yesterday. And they're just different trees in different like areas. But he was doing a building. And he did a building like this where it was like, you know, on its own, kind of suspended and whatever. And I'm like, oh man, I'd love to do like a tree water thing with that, right? So I was like, well, I'll do my take on that. So I got excited about that. So usually I'm excited to draw something that I've been kind of inspired by or is one of my standbys or my stories. If I get time to actually do part of a story I'm making, there's nothing in the world that can make me happier than that.
Bye, Sneaky Wolf.
Bye, Sneaky. I hope your day is great. There you go, Soggy. Lead paint. No, don't use the lead paint.
I don't know if I get like that way. Like, I just want to draw all the time. So
yeah, Gabe's always excited.
For me, when I get a chance to do what I want to do, because a lot of time I spend doing other people's shit. So when I can do what I want to do, that's when I get excited. And I think that's the same for you.
Crane, that's an absolute, like, that makes sense. You know, I don't blame you for that.
Yeah.
You die, you live again. One of my favorite movies.
Oh, okay. That's just so weird to me that people would use like airbrush for like miniature, because it just seems counterintuitive, because it's just so much stuff coming out that
No,
you know, like,
no. No, what are you talking about? You control how much air is released.
That's what I mean, but like at the miniature level, that must be some
It's
really,
like
yeah.
and
Huh.
your swipes really matter.
Yeah. Huh.
Like, you can tell somebody who's new at airbrushing versus somebody who's not. Like, you have to have deft movements. It's, you know. It's
Yeah,
really
and
specific.
Yeah, I figured you had to prime them. I was doing. I had a special stream last week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were building Gundams, and I have 2 models that are primed. The one that I was working on was not primed. Oh, here he is, this little guy. Yeah. But definitely, like that's one of those things that I learned like from my dad, because you know, like he was always fixing like rust spots on his like cars. So I learned about primer like really early on, but I never do that, which is stupid. But that's sort of what a wash is.
Yeah.
When we're watercoloring, a wash is just a primer.
I haven't gotten to the point of doing an all-over wash with mine yet, because I'm afraid it'll tint it the wrong way, and I don't want that. But I also don't have my gouache around. I don't know where my gouache is. How are you in social situations, Crane? Do you kind of freeze up? If you freeze up, yeah, I'd say you're introverted. Fully. It was funny when we moved at Von House and I started thinking about who's what. It was basically 1/3 of everything. 2 people were extroverted, 2 people were ambiverts, 2 people were introverted. I found that really interesting.
I'm done with my piece.
Do another one. I've already done 2.
Have you?
Well, I started the gourd guy.
Oh.
I don't know if I'll finish him.
I just didn't know how long you were going to go, because I know you were saying you wanted to do a short one.
Well, you got 15 minutes. Do something tiny. See? See? You guys should be thinking like that too. I got 15 minutes. Do something small. Do something 2x3. Fuck it. Just do it. I don't even care. Actually, if you could even say that to yourself, it helps. I got 10 minutes, 15 minutes, fuck it, I don't even care, and start drawing. And if something goes wrong in your drawing, say, I don't even care, and keep going. It's honestly kind of a good thing to work on. Like, care a little more when it's obviously a bigger piece or a piece that matters. If it's for someone, you know, dial up your caring. But if it's something small, like I'm at about a medium with this one. I know if I screw up at any point, I can also fix it later. But I'm also at the point where if something goes wrong in it, I'm like, fuck it, keep going. Because there isn't really a, oh, I have to stop for me. There's no, oh, I screwed it up and I stop. I don't really do that. Oh, Paladin. For sure, don't ever move to America then. It's just going to get worse. Oh, that sucks, Crane. I'm sorry you have bad hearing. Well, that's just normal, though, talking to a girl and shutting down. So, with what I'm doing right now, this is more of a jungle scene than this. So I really want the foliage to be a lot darker, but also richer. So I need to make it look a little bit different, at least, just a smidge different than the other one. So I have to make sure I'm dialing all those attributes to what makes a jungle more of a jungle and what makes just a forest a forest. What kind of gouache do we use? I think it's either, we usually use, I mean, I've got some Holbeins, but...
Holbein?
Holbein, yeah.
Usually it's Winsor Newton, because Holbein is a little more expensive,
Yeah.
and I just haven't run out of the Winsor Newtons I've got, but I've slowly been transitioning to Holbein, because
You try to use Daniel Smith watercolors, though, right?
yeah, I haven't bought any, though.
But you want to.
But yeah, once I start running out, I'm going to switch to Daniel Smith.
Because I think you've earned that. So,
Yeah.
like, my personal belief in, like, art supplies is you kind of have to earn them. So, when I hear somebody's got a Cintiq, but they suck at art and they think it's going to actually make them better, I laugh. Because it's not the tools that make you better. Okay, you guys know this. You've heard this before. It's not the tools that make the artist, it's the artist that makes the tools. So if you're not good at something anyway, and you try to fill in your shortcomings with actual understanding of art with the tool, no. So like for me, when I started with gouache, I got a $15 set at Michael's just to see if I liked it. And once I got better at it and I did still like it, I thought, well, I can level up to the next brand that's a little bit more expensive and keep going from there. Because if you go straight to the expensive stuff, you're wasting money if you end up not liking it. So anytime you're experimenting with a new medium, make sure you're trying it, before you even get it to buy it. Or if you can try it from a friend, like if you were hanging out with Gabe and you wanted to try gouache, ask to take some of his.
Mm-hmm.
That way you're not even putting a financial investment in it,
That's basically why I'm getting Daniel Smith, is because Anya, our friend Anya, had some Daniel Smith on her, and I was like, oh, let me try this. Do you have that ruler?
I didn't give it back.
Negative. Oh.
Luckily yours is pink. Mine is clear.
Mm-hmm.
Try finding a clear ruler on a messy desk. I think I understand, Paladin. I'm kind of the same way. Like, I only go out if I really have to. Like, we don't like to go out too much. Or if we do, we go to a quiet spot. Like, either a coffee shop or, we go to a forest, something, I feel you on that. I think that's just getting older. Like, I was never the clubbing type or the bar type. So it's not surprising to me that I'm still not. I tried to be that for a while because I had friends that were kind of that way, but really, that was another instance where I thought I was supposed to be a certain way. And you have to just know, if you're unhappy in a situation and you keep putting yourself in that situation, and that's not how you are, stop. What are you doing? Get out of there. Like, don't do things you don't want to do. I mean, sometimes, like in art, it can be a growing experience, sure. If you're doing, anatomy and you're not familiar with it, that can be a good thing. That's a good getting out of your comfort zone. But sometimes putting yourself in a situation where you're just unhappy or you don't feel safe or you just don't like anything that's happening, get out of there. Like, why do that?
You go to the club and then you realize, okay, I hate the club. Leave the goddamn club.
Yeah.
Just wait for your friends. Go to a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Go to a bar.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because, I mean, like, remember, there's always bars around, like, clubs.
But I mean, granted, if you don't like the club, you probably don't like a bar.
Well, at least the at least the bar you can sit down at.
That's true.
And
Some clubs though have tables.
Yeah, but it's probably not nearly as loud as a club.
Hi, Hyperion.
Hyperion.
Uncanny is asking if you'd like a Daniel Smith Ultramarine. They don't want.
I would love it. I
I think
Ashley.
you just made his day.
Yeah, Ashley hates.
Is that the blue?
That's the blue. She does not like that.
I'm doing that girl's face from that meme. That is my most hated color in all of life. 255 blue. Get out of my house. I hate you.
There's yeah. I mean, if you want to like, actually, yeah, maybe at because I've still got plenty of that. I don't use that as much, but maybe at SuperCon.
Either SuperCon or we have, for anybody who doesn't know, we actually have a P.O. box that's listed beneath the video, and Gabe's is the same as mine. So if you just put Cloverkin and Gabo on it or something, that'll get to us.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's right below the video in my info area. If you guys ever send us a gift or something, we'll try to send you something back. Okay, and it could be really funny. So depending on what you send us, we'll try to send something funny back. There you go, Soggy.
Yeah, you might get something real cool.
We might get something real stupid. I might send you a pine cone. I don't know.
Where's
Crane,
that pine?
where are your friends? What's your problem?
Where's
Come
that
on.
pine cone?
It's in my bag.
Okay.
That's my pine cone. I found that. That's mine.
No, I know. I didn't know if you still had it.
Of course I have it. I never get rid of a pine cone. Leave no pine cone behind. No, that's good, Soggy. It's good you know that. A lot of people don't even realize they don't like that stuff until it's too late. It's like, why have I wasted all my time here, you know? I'm the same way, Paladin. I agree with you 100,000,000%. What color Space Marine do you prefer? Me? I'd probably take a red or a green one over a blue one. For sure.
Even though they're... Alright, wait.
You're talking about Warhammer, right? I've actually done a Warhammer Necromancer before for a cat that I got a commission for.
Did you? I don't remember that one.
Yeah, you do. He's a Necromancer. It's
Oh,
Zubadu.
for Warhammer.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking of, I was thinking of 40K.
That's Warhammer.
No, I know, but I was thinking, you did a Warhammer 40K Necromancer?
The giant, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. No, sorry, I wasn't thinking. God damn it.
When are you thinking?
Never.
Well, Crane, if you ever met him in real life, though, you've already got that, so you've made friends
Mhm.
already. I mean, how you are in real life will probably not really affect, I mean, unless you're gropey or something weird, you know? That's okay, especially in this day and age. Hi, Muffins!
Muffins!
How you doing? Oh, Ultramarines. I think I get the joke now. I think I didn't get that a minute ago.
Ultramarines.
Living the dream? Awesome. Can't complain, huh? Good for you, man. Good for you. Also, for this, just to explain, I think I'm going to use a lot more red in the browns for the shadows, where for the forest I use blue in a lot of the shadows. So because a jungle is a lot more hot and rich in color, I'm gonna add that red in there so it's still warm, you know. We'll probably add some yellow in there too at some point. I'm trying to get more patient by using watercolors. Like I'm trying to learn myself something. Aw, cute muffins. I'm still excited to do your piece. I'll try to do it on a stream so I can at least give you a video so you can have it. Super gropey. Well, that answers that question. Is it too much or too much? Ashley, too much water. So one of my weaknesses with watercolor is adding too much water. So now, as I'm doing my watercolors, this is what I consider a study. I'm making sure, as I'm going, that I don't use too much water. And really, I feel like that's what studies are, is just being able to know what you're doing as you're doing it in comparison to like how it is in life, you know? So if you're studying bones and stuff, you know, just make sure you're looking at it and portraying it how it is. That's a study to me. And obviously taking artistic liberties if that's part of the assignment. Crane, remind me, what do I have to send you an email about? It was what I think your process should be for the assignments, right? Was that it? I've been streaming for, it's coming up on 3 hours. Probably gonna quit soon. Just because I have way too much work I have to be doing other than this. Majority of the week this week is probably gonna be commissions, so eat this up now because you won't get my brain stuff for a little bit. This is my relaxation time. Gabe and I are workaholics to the extent that we're working even when we're relaxing. Like, which I think is a good skill to kind of have, is to be able to know when you're working, you know, or you're doing something that's considered work, and then being able to do something with the same tools even that you're using, but with a different mindset. That'll help you to not burn out. Because if you're just, you know, if I was looking at this like work, like I do with my pet commissions, it's not gonna have the same feeling to me, you know. So knowing what's work and what isn't is very important. Can you lower your exposure? We can't see any of that.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. Don't worry about that.
Are you just starting it?
I was setting up a grid.
Oh god. We were gonna end soon, Gabe.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. This is for like a while, you know, like whenever I'm warming up.
Oh. Okay. I mean, yeah, I guess I can tell you. It's basically the same as what I said earlier, but I can write it down. Have I always been a workaholic? I think to some degree, yeah. Yeah, I think I am. But it got a lot worse when I got into freelance because, you know, you're at a 9 to 5. You're either asked to stay for overtime or you just know when you have a deadline and you have to stay. But most of the time when you're done with work, you're done and you go home and you do whatever. With freelance, there's no quitting time. And 2 years in for me, I think I'm still 2 years in, right? Not quite 3? I think 3 will be August.
Mm-hmm.
But 2 years in, my hardest thing is still figuring out when to quit. And I've burnt out a couple times because I didn't know. I didn't know when to quit. I didn't know how to quit. There's a lot of guilt that no one really tells you about that's associated with freelance. Like if you're not working on something you're supposed to for someone, like there's guilt associated with that. And especially if you have as many commissions as I do on a daily basis. Like if I count up all the ones I've got for the rest of the year for right now, before I hit my next con, I've probably got around another 40 to get through. So I've had to figure out how not to go crazy with 40 people waiting on me. And I figured out at least how to tone it down going forward, so I don't get as many, so I can start working on my personal stuff in my free time. But that also means I'm not making as much money as I was. So it's been a balance, and I'm trying to figure out a sweet spot. But yeah, I've always been a workaholic, and honestly, that's part of why our relationship works, is because we both are. So when one of us is like, okay, we should probably take a break. Like, luckily, we have two brains that, you know, have recognized, okay, you've been working 7 hours straight. Maybe get up and move around. Like, usually we do our errands and stuff earlier in the day. So, like, today we went to the gym. Usually we'll go to the grocery store or something if we need to get stuff. And then for the rest of the day, we'll either stream or work. Usually we combine it by doing our work on the stream, like I do. And, you know, if we get really ravenous and hungry, we'll stop. We'll take maybe a half an hour to an hour, and we'll eat something and maybe watch something really quick. And then we'll go back to work till like 3 a.m., something like that. So... Okay, Crane. Exactly, Paladin. So that's exactly why I can't even justify playing games anymore. I used to be a huge gamer. I'm not anymore. And, you know, I'm okay with that because my free time, I'm trying to still do my own things. So that's the hard part about being, you know, an independent artist, and in our case, a storyteller, is we have all these stories we want to get out, but we also have to learn how to make money. So we have to balance the time we use to make money with the time that we need to actually start producing new stuff. And it's a total balance, like I was saying. And it's really tough. Like, I haven't found it yet. In all honesty, I haven't found it. I'm working on it, and I think I'm getting close. But I don't know, it's tough. Because it's sacrifice one way or the other. If I want my time back, I have to be okay with making less money, with making, you know, obviously doing less commissions. And then there's going to be pressure with that, too. When I actually start doing my personal work, I have to know that that is money. The time I'm spending on that is money. So that's going to be tough in its own way. Oh no, Crane. So now it's really stupid. If I play a game, I have to actually justify why playing this game is good for me. Like, in the respect of like Stardew Valley, I could never play that. Just because there's no story really to that, not like an in-depth one. Anything that's like time management game, that's just hell for me. Because it's like, I'm already doing time management, you know, in my regular time. I can't do that right now, you know? Like, that's not fun to me. So, Gabe and I are very lucky in the fact that we both kind of work the same way. Because I think if we were with anyone else, how we work wouldn't work with other people. So we're lucky in that respect. Oh, God. Gone and screwed this up. So I can fix that with gouache later. This part looks like ass, and I admit it. And that's okay. You can fix it. No! Okay, so, Anton, sorry. I didn't mean to be unclear about that. I love what I work on. I chose what I work on. My commissions are all people's pets that I translate their personalities into D&D and RPG classes that suit them. I made that business. That's mine. People have already tried to copy it, and I've talked to them about it, like, I made this. You know, you're following me, obviously you took my idea and you're trying to do it. Don't do that. Make your own idea. But that's my business. I made that, so I'm happy doing it. In other words, I do a lot of medieval characters and, like, little animals and stuff anyway, so I figured why not put someone's pet in something and make sure what they're wearing reflects how they are on the inside. And it blew up. Like, last year, I ended up, like, I've been doing 200 of these. So it hit, but now I'm trying to dial back so I can happily do both. Because one, I'm doing stuff for other people, which I'm happy to do, but I want to make sure I'm still making the stuff for me as well, so I have more product. And as a freelance artist, you have to always be juggling two things. One thing is your current stuff that you've kind of made a formula for, that you've kind of made to the point of a product. You also have to be working on a new product, so when this one gets too old, you have something new. So usually it's a good idea that like a Patreon is nice if you're well known enough to support this side of it that you're still figuring out, you're still making progress on, where your products you've already made are hopefully carrying you so that you can work on this. So I'm at the point right now where I'm doing too much of this one and not enough of this one. So I'm just trying to balance it. I love doing all of it. I've quit a full-time job to do this, and I've been lucky enough and smart enough to make it into something I wanted. So I'm very rarely unhappy with it. It's just the guilt side of it is the part that no one prepares you for. When people are waiting for commissions or they email you and they're like, where is it? And like, no one really talks to you about that. So like with my commissions mentorship, I tell you about these sort of things that no one really prepared you for, because people are like, yeah, commissions, just put it out there, go for it. What happens when you get too many? How do you organize the ones you get? How do you prioritize online orders versus in-person orders? All these things I've had to deal with a bunch, like, and that weighs on you after a while. It can get crazy. That's good, Crane. Yes, I get paid upfront. So the way I've made my model doesn't work for everybody, and it really depends on what you do. But for me, I give the pitch of, I translate your pets into your pets' personalities into D&D and RPG classes that suit them. I have two sizes. I have a 9x12 and I have a 7x10. The 9x12 is usually good for like up on a wall. The 7x10 is usually good for like up on a mantle, right? And I show them examples. You can get up to 4 pets in one. I don't go over 4 because then it gets really messy and you can't, like, they're just floating heads at that point. And depending on how many pets and what size, it's a different amount of money. So they pay me, and then I end up giving them a slip to fill out. And on the slip, it gives email, all this information I need about them so that I can email them in case they don't give me the information I need. Because after that point, I need pictures from them, I need bios, I need funny stories, quirks, all these things, right? Then they email me all that stuff, and then I do the portrait, and I send it to them. So I've got this really streamlined thing, because I didn't used to have the slips. And I went to New York Comic Con without these slips. My first year, people would pay me like $400 and walk away, and I'd never see them again. You want to talk guilt? That is bad. Like, I wouldn't hear from them for years after that. Like, it was like 2 years ago. There are some people I still haven't heard from that gave me money and walked away, and I was like, to actually get rid of this guilt I feel, I'm going to have to make slips for people to fill out. And now they do it lickety-split, no problem. Because I tell them, I'm like, I need you to fill out the slip. In case you don't get me the information I need, I'm going to contact you and I'm going to poke you about it and be like, can I have pictures? Can I have videos? All this stuff. So it's really important. Thank you, Muffins. And that's the other thing. If you're able to prove your quality beforehand, always have examples of what kind of commissions you offer. A lot of people go too far and they've got like headshot, bust shot, long shot, you're in a like a background, your character is here, more characters, you've got black and white, you've got color, you've got 4 different sizes. No. Simplify. 2 different variations and leave it at that. So for me, it's how many pets and what size. That's it. And I only offer 2 sizes and up to 4 pets. That makes it easy for somebody to understand when you're explaining it to them. It's digestible, it's simple, lickety-split quick. The people that have a commission sheet that's like this big and it's just all text, sorry, no one's going to read that. Even if it's on the internet and you're like, hey, I'm open for commissions, here's my commission page, and you show them, no. Just make it simple. Okay, simple. Because people's brains shut down if they're given too much information, too much to choose from, right? Think about restaurants you've gone to that have too much on the menu versus ones that have a couple things. Usually you're less overwhelmed with the ones that have littler things, you know? And if it's a good restaurant, they're going to have like things that are very particular and different. So there's something for everyone, but they're just that one thing, you know? Free money. It was bad. I actually talked to a lawyer about that, and I'm like, am I in any sort of trouble if they pay me money and walk away? And they're like, legally, no. And if they don't contact you and you've given them your information, you're not at fault. Just think of it like a big tip. And I was like, okay. But like I said, my moral code was not okay with that. And plus, that's a very loose business, whatever. I was still figuring out the kinks. Now it's just good. But back then, I felt horrible. And what's worse now, though, is I have to tell people there's like a 4 to 6 month wait period, because I can maybe get one of these done a day if it's a good day. Otherwise, it's usually 2 days they're spread over. And for 40 commissions, that's a long time. But like I said, if you're able to prove your worth and your quality, like me having my Pet and Armor book, I have a whole book of proof. That helps. I have a whole hashtag on Instagram that helps. Anytime you can prove it ahead of time that, hey, it's going to be this good, they can be like, awesome. Or at least, not even saying this good, but this look, I'll be able to recreate for you. It's more the better. Yeah, Crane, if I could be more apathetic about it, that would be awesome. But I can't. And honestly, I can't tell if that actually makes me a better freelancer, that I do care. Gabe would be one to ask about this. If it's better that I care, or worse. Or maybe it's both.
It's both, because I mean, like, for someone like me, like, I care less, so that sometimes reflects in my work. So that can be detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're like too high, and I'm too low.
Yeah.
So we both need to meet in the middle. Whereas, like, if...
But do you think it hurts me right now?
No, because you handle it well. And I think everyone who emails you and they're like, hey, what's going on with my thing? They're like, you know, they're just... I think for the most part, they're just concerned. Because they paid you this big lump of sum, and they're like, I don't want to get swindled.
Yeah.
But then once you email them, that sort of reassures them.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty good at that.
Yeah.
It's just I get immediately scared if they're outwardly mean. Because some people aren't... Like, it's been very rare that I've gotten someone that was just immediately mean. Usually people are very nice, very good about stuff. They understand these things take a while. You know, they're getting something handmade and very specific and special. Other people think it just happens, I don't know, magically. I don't know, push of a button, it should be done or something. And they're like, why is this taking so long? It's like, well, damn it. It's art. I don't know what to say other than that. It's art. It takes a while. It's thought. It's, especially for me, that's why I can't always do pencils on the stream, because I am thinking a lot about what goes into each one of these. That I don't want to skimp on anything. Be like Tyler. I wish I could. With some things, I wish I could. But then, living with him was kind of hard, because that bled into all aspects of his life, including friendships and stuff. So that gets old really quick. So it's a double-edged sword, regardless of what side you're on, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, Crane, shut up. Oh, night, Soggy.
I
Feel
did.
better. If you're not feeling good, feel better, okay? I like what you're drawing, Gabe.
Mm.
That's cute.
Okay.
The guy looks too much like Albert, though.
Mm-hmm.
There's pros and cons to everything. I think people forget that. Like, even when they're telling themselves, like, I wish I was more this way, or I wish I was more this way. Like, for a while, I was thinking, well, I kind of wish I was a quieter girl. I wish I was a quiet, cute girl that's stuck on the side of things and kind of just smiled and was cheery. But then I was like, no, that would be torture for me. And I had to think about it too, like, why would I want that? What did I even want that for? And really it was because I just felt like I was too brash too often, I guess. And I think at the time I was pushing a lot of people away, which is how I was. But, I mean, that's one of those things where the people that want to be around you are going to be around you. If they like what you're saying and like who you are, they're going to stay. Not everybody has to like everybody. That's the other thing. I learned in the past couple years, you don't have to be friends with anybody you don't want to be friends with. If you don't want to be friends with somebody because they rub you the wrong way, sorry, you don't have to be friends with them. You know? Get away from them. Especially if they're making you feel bad or something. Even if they're not doing it on purpose, maybe they're just toxic people or something. Leave. You don't have to be around that. A lot of people don't realize that either. I mean, especially the friends that you made when you were little. A lot of people think you have to stay with those people. You know what? You were friends with them out of convenience. You know, a lot of like middle school to high school and all that. Mm-hmm. Those are the people you were around. Those were your only choices. You're an adult now. You have choices you can make. Make them. Who cares? Oh, sorry. Well, if you need us, we're here. Oh, hey, Chrissy.
Chrissy.
I am honest. Give me a refund. No. That's the other thing. I haven't even figured out refunds yet. I've never had to refund someone for a pet commission, so that's good. Or any kind of commission, really. Oh, look at this. I dropped a droplet on my paper a while ago. Yeah. Crane, that wouldn't even make sense unless you've come to the US and gone to cons.
Bingo.
Bingo. Nutcapes. Alright, I'm gonna be stopping soon. So Crane, I'll try to at least give you a little run through of what I'm thinking. It's gonna be hard though. We might really need to talk it out, especially since your viewpoint's so different than mine on that, and I don't know. I mean, if you really want to go that route with the studies, we can, but I don't know how that's going to turn out. I feel like I can more easily predict the other way, but if you feel drawn to a certain method, we can totally look at it that way. I don't want to do anything you're not comfortable with right away. Oh no, Chrissy. So is that a good thing, Paladin, or a bad thing? See, that's what I wanted the Cloverkin brand to be. I wanted it just to be like, I'm a sweet elf that does art. Would you want to watch my art? And it's just ended up where my true self always comes out, and I'm like, fuck it, I gotta just be whatever I'm being. If they don't like it, okay. If they do, cool. I don't know. You can't fight who you are, right? I mean, you can try, but it'll always come back. I don't know. Oh, Crane. That's okay. We could always just, you know what, maybe I should DM you in Discord and we should try live talking. Because I feel too much like I have to be very formal in the emails. I don't know. It's a good thing? Okay, good. I think I'm going to go back into this and do a lot of, like, pencil stuff, similar to my other one. So this one I actually feel like turned out worse than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Sometimes that happens. Also, do your watercolors ever feel grainy?
Grainy?
Yeah, what does
Yeah,
that mean?
it's just how that watercolor is. Like the
The ones tonight, though, feel like a lot of them are the same, but tonight they're grainy and yesterday they weren't.
might also be your brush, maybe.
I
No?
think it's the same brush.
Is it the same paper?
Yeah,
Mm.
same everything.
Well, I know that because the paint's made out of dirt, sometimes it's just more grainy.
Oh, okay, so it's normal. Alright. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're done. Crane, I'll try to be more, like, whatever about it then. Because if we're on the same page with that, then let's just fucking whatever. I just wanted to try to be legit about it for a bit, but if you're okay with me just yelling like normal, then cool. I don't know, Cass. It's weird because I can feel that there's grains. Like, yeah, pigment. Maybe it is just that. Or I guess it could even be dust. Because it was dusty there too, because they had the door open and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's a bunch of things. Anyway, so this is a companion piece, I guess, to this one. But I'm going to start doing this sort of detailing on this one. But yeah, let's get drunk. Humidity might too. Yeah. I'm sure everything affects it, honestly. To my benefits. Good call. Good call. Okay. So what's today? Sunday? We're gonna go. Today's Sunday. Tomorrow, Gabe will be on late for us. So when we started today 3 hours ago, he's gonna be starting tomorrow 5 hours later. So 2 hours from now, tomorrow, he'll be streaming, and I'll be doing the same on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, blah 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 blah. But not this week, but next week we're only gonna have 2 streams because we have a con that weekend. So let's fit it all in now. And if anybody's interested in any mentorships with me, or Gabe, typically come with me though. And I'll tell you if you should go over to him.
Mm-hmm.
But start with me. We'll figure it out.
Better at it.
Huh?
You're better at it.
I'll just delegate where they go. We have basically an interview first, and then we decide what's best. Sometimes we don't match up. I just had someone that we talked about what they should do, and they were just wanting to know what route they should go down. And honestly, that's fine. If you just need a little bit of directional help with your art career, we're more than happy to help with that. Even if there's no mentorship involved, honestly. If you just want more feedback or like someone to reflect off of, because some people don't have another artistic eye that's not close to them that can give them honest feedback. Like, here's my situation, here's my background, this is what I've been through, I'm kind of torn between going this way and this way. I have passion towards this, but I've got schooling towards that. What should I do? And I'll, this is basically what I just had. So we talk about it, and then if we're a good fit for you, awesome, we'll start. Otherwise, we'll tell you where you could go. We'll try to help you regardless. Okay, Crane. I might just email you though, I don't know, because I hate having them split, because then I don't know where, but I guess if we just do those 2, Discord or email, it'll be okay. So, alright, we'll see you guys tomorrow on Gabe's stream, listed at the top right. Otherwise, I hope you have the better end of your weekend, and eat well, sleep well, and have fun. Okay? Bye!